Let's see. No, I don't want you. All right, there we go. All right, is this just not showing up, or is it? Okay, it is. It is working. I might change. What's my other topics? Say. Okay. Hi, Cole.
Hello.
I finally went through and I have an app open right now that I can actually control my fans because I know I've complained about them being whiny before.
I love that.
I have to go into my bio sometimes, which is kind of a pain in the butt, but I don't want to change that until I know that this is actually fine, because I assume I don't need that much actual airflow going through my system, because I have a quite beefy cooler for my actual processor, especially for what I do with it. It's I could cool a 400 watt processor, and I'm using a little bitty like 65 watts out of that. Let's actually see. Hardware info 64. What are we actually running in terms of power right now?
I was going to ask you, I was sharing it with people, so I wasn't looking when you put your glasses on. But I was like, can you see anything without those? I noticed. I was like, you without glasses, that's just weird.
Oh, I was just cleaning them. I have a
Oh.
yeah. No, so most of my life I actually lived without glasses. It wasn't until I was 20 something that I got glasses. And it was the only thing that I noticed the only thing that like really got me to change is the was mostly the fact that I had some issues driving at night where lights were really like bright. And so I went to an eye doctor about that and like, oh yeah, you should probably get glasses. Like I can drive without them, but I don't because yeah, it's a solid. It's a
I thought it was a liquid.
Correction. While we're streaming, we're pulling a good 70 watts. 60 to 70
Gato is
watts.
going off.
Got
Request up if you would like to discuss the topic.
Let's see, 100.
Oh, by the way, Gato, we actually found out the hard way several decades ago that changing the inside to match the outside does not work. Like, it made somebody off themselves. So let's not say that because it's not true.
Oh no, I don't want that. Come back here. I wanted your. Give me back my CPU package temp. There we go. Yeah, most of my system is pretty. I'll have to wait like an hour before this actually levels out. That's the funny thing. My temperatures don't like I don't know my actual temperature that the system will sit at until like after an hour.
Makes sense, but then you'll know where to
It's
go from there.
for most systems it can happen after like 5 minutes, but a liquid cooled system takes a while, especially with a closed or open loop system like mine, where I have a huge reservoir. Like I have about a liter of water on my computer ish, so it takes time for that liter to level out about where it's going to stay. So yeah, you do anything fun for the week?
I'm trying to remember my week.
Honestly,
How's it going?
Can I get your age and pronouns, please?
Yeah, sure. 30 he, him.
Do you disagree with the prompt?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. I disagree with it.
So what do you disagree about it?
Well, the fact that you're saying that it's not a mental illness, but yet you go to a therapist and get prescribed medications to help cope with your delusion.
So
Let's not say delusion. Just I'll let you go ahead still, but let's not say that because
Cole,
you have to have scientific evidence to back that. It's misinformation, and for TikTok terms of service, we have to like stop things like that from happening. So let's just not call it that unless you can put science behind it, please.
Okay, so I'm sorry, Cole. I didn't know that we're interrupting people here while they're sitting there talking, but let's play that. Um,
Whose
so,
live is it? Is it yours? Is it mine? Is it Solid's?
oh, it doesn't.
No.
It doesn't.
mine.
Let me teach you some kind of form of respect. When somebody's speaking, you be quiet. You don't interrupt, correct?
Yeah, but
We
I'm gonna
do interrupt on TikTok for misinformation because it's against
Yeah.
TikTok terms of service.
So do you think that we should let people spew things that are just like, you know, especially when there's multiple people listening that is like we know is factually wrong. That there is good evidence to suggest that no, this isn't a delusion. This is like the DSM-5 would classify the most that anything being transgender would be classified as is gender dysphoria, and the reason why it's seen as any sort of like something that needs to be treated or can be treated is simply because it causes distress and it causes problems within somebody's life. It's the distress that's the problem. None of the gender nonconforming thoughts or beliefs are seen as problematic, and simply having gender nonconforming behavior or thoughts or actions or beliefs is seen as any sort of mental illness.
Okay. Okay. So let me ask you this: you, as a citizen, right? You have the belief to actually trust what you want, right? You had that belief. Now, if me and you was on the internet, just me and you, and we're sitting here going back and forth, okay, and you have people come up on the internet, there's going to be people that agree with you. There's going to be people that agree with me. I'm what y'all consider a conspiracy theorist, okay?
Yeah,
But
we can. I would love to talk about
hold
conspiracy
on,
theories.
hold on,
Do you want to talk
hold
about
on.
the CERN weasels? I love them. There's.
Sit
I
here and
love.
talk to you.
Love it.
If I can sit here and talk to you, okay? Y'all can sit here and tell me all day, hey, conspiracy bandit. I don't believe not one conspiracy theory. Conspiracy theorist, y'all suffer from a mental illness. Cool. I can't sit here and say nothing back to you about it. I just go with the flow. You know what I'm
Because you
saying?
don't
Hold
base
on.
these things off of
Oh,
science. Oh
oh,
my god,
hold on.
I interrupted you actually on purpose to see this reaction. It's kind of entertaining,
Hold on.
not gonna lie.
Hold on. I'll get to you in a minute. I'll get to you in a minute.
Oh,
Um, but if
I'm
you sit
trembling
here
in
and
my
told me,
boots.
hold on. If you sit here and told me that you was a trans woman, knowing that you was born with male chromosomes, and I told you that I didn't accept how you identified, I would be labeled as what?
Well, generally, just be disrespectful for in the first place. It could be considered transphobic due depending on why you're doing it. Because some individuals, I could see that there are probably some individuals who just genuinely don't understand what it's like to be, or like understand the idea of transgender people, and they might accidentally misgender them, and I think that's fine. It's just a matter of what your mindset is of, and you being open
Okay.
to being respectful to individuals. So I wouldn't necessarily just immediately label somebody transphobic.
Oh, so me not accepting or telling you that I don't accept your how you identify is quote unquote transphobic. So I have to accept you, right? Society
Just
has to
like I
accept you,
accept you.
right?
Yeah,
I'm
so
sorry,
it's just a
Cole.
thing of respect. It's
It's
just
it's me
about
and the host right now. It's not me, Cole, and the host. Stop interrupting. I'll get to you in a minute.
Hey, Keaton.
yeah.
Do you have a problem with me interrupting when I
No.
have been so far or in the future? Okay,
Mm,
cool. Thanks.
I'm
Oh,
the
you
person
might
who,
not, but
if
I
it's a
do.
problem, I let people know about it respectfully. So yeah.
Okay, Cole. Well, Cole, you got so much to say. Say what's on your chest. Go ahead and get it off.
I mean, you're just really uneducated on this and don't seem like you want to be educated on it. We have educated ourselves on this extensively and could actually give you a lot of information if you have like specific questions for us. But yeah, I mean, other than that, basically had the same thoughts that the host has because we've done a lot of similar research on this. So yeah,
Oh, okay. Okay, y'all done similar research, so y'all should have the same answer when I ask you this. What is a woman?
similar.
What is a woman?
Oh,
So if what type of definition are you seeking here? Are you seeking an essentialist definition or a revisionist definition?
I'm seeking the actual definition.
Well, that would be just like a
Now, hold on.
blender because
No definition that falls into your delusion. What is a
yes,
woman?
please
yes.
stop saying delusion. You have no scientific backing, and we have all of
It's
it.
silly because like we can get into the semantics of what like a definition is and like why it's a silly thing to ask like what is the definition, because simply definitions change over time. They're not rigid, they're broad, diverse, and nuanced. They're, words can have multiple meanings within different situations. Important, and also it's important to notice that they can change quite drastically over time, simply just due to how a culture or individuals use it.
Okay, so let me ask you this: what is a adult human female?
It's somebody typically who, I think it's I forget which pathway they developed down, but it's somebody who's developed down a
Valerian.
Malarian pathway.
It's
Is
a
what I,
woman.
well, no. Well, yeah, I guess that is a fair thing to say. Like, you can't say a
Not
woman is an adult
always.
human female, but that isn't the only definition. You can have other, meanings, and they can even conflate with each other. And that's
And
not a
there could
problem within
be,
language.
you can have an adult human female that isn't a woman. Like, ever think of
Yeah,
that?
they call themselves trans men,
Indeed, trans men exist.
but they are not men.
All right. I I could run the "Do you think trans people exist" thing potentially, but you're
I can
doing
get you.
good, Keaton. You keep going, unless he's got any questions specifically for me.
You're
Yeah.
not going to do away with that thinking process, Cole.
So it's,
'Cause more than half of society does not agree with trans women being women. They don't agree with trans men being men.
Okay, let me
We
ask
only
you this then. Do
hold on. If
do
they
you
was if
okay,
they
let me ask you this then. Do you listen to society's consensus or do you listen to science when there's something like this that's based in science? Now you can unmute to answer.
oh, so you're the one that muted me, Cole?
Maybe?
maybe,
You're
maybe not.
fascist, like suppressing the silence and opposition.
Fascist?
You
You
like
are
silence
fascist.
that don't
That's hilarious. So it's-
Oh my god.
oh god.
That's iconic.
Us fascists. Oh my god. Because like fascism is generally seen as a far right idea. We're very
Oh, far
free
right, far
speech.
right. Okay, okay. Let me ask you
Yeah,
this: which political party is trying to strip law-abiding citizens from their constitutionally protected activity, known as the Second Amendment? It's the Democratic Party.
Oh my
You,
god.
yeah. So I
you're
don't.
Forget all of the
impossible.
other constitutional
It's the
rights, by the
president,
way.
probably
I
your
don't.
opposition.
Yeah. So here's the
The
fun
fuck
part.
are y'all talking about? Y'all
I
are fucking
don't.
stupid and illiterate.
I don't find
Oh,
that just because something is legal, that a right is granted in law, that it's like some sort of moral necessity. It's that I had ground my morals objectively outside of law, because I understand that if you were to ground your morals based off of law, you get like ridiculous things like having to say that slavery was okay at one point, which I would reject that notion entirely. So yeah, I don't care what the law says. I would ground my morals in what we should do based off of what we come to more conclusions about.
I mean, to be fair, the UK is forcing like ID scanning for people online. That
Yeah.
can be objectively wrong or right, considering the fact that it can lead to numerous data privacy breaches. There's different countries outside the US that will have different laws, so by basing it in legality would just be a fallacy.
But you're saying that the appeal to legality fallacy is a thing? Oh no.
I was about to say that.
Yeah, so yeah, I actually generally don't even support like super strict gun laws. It's more that we need to do something rather than nothing at this current state because of the way that society is treating weapons. There's been a critical lack of respect towards weaponry, and they're seen more as due to it being like seen as a constitutional right. I think it has like de facto degraded people's respect for these things, and they're used for to do terrible things, partially as a result because we've kind of as a society sat back and let this happen, and we don't like freak out and push back against horrible actions that happen.
Okay, okay. Let me ask you this: which political party has been sitting here trying to push anything in reference to banning the sale, purchase, manufacture, distribution, transfer, or possession of any semi-automatic weapon in America with a detachable magazine?
Yeah,
Can
it's
you
really
elaborate?
Can
yeah.
you please like connect that to the topic though?
Yeah, I
Peter,
would
like
say that
I'm
it'd be.
lost on how it
Hey,
connects.
Cole, you possibly muted me, and I'm letting you know that you're a fascist. You silence opposition,
So what is fascism? What is fascism as a
huh?
political belief?
What
What
is
is
fascist?
fascism?
Okay, I
Okay,
mean,
okay,
if fascism is what that is, like me
let's take for instance.
operating in the way that the
Let's
host is
take for
okay
instance.
with,
Let's
then
take for
I
Right,
guess I'm a
right.
fascist, but I know that's not what fascism means, so I'm not a fascist.
Sorry, I'm
So
sorry.
say,
Did the community back in Nazi Germany not experience fascism?
Yeah, so
I didn't say
fascism
anything about
isn't.
Germany, I spoke for myself.
Yeah,
I understand
also
you speak for
that
yourself,
that
but you're
isn't the
standing for the
best.
same shit that happened in Germany.
If we want to talk
hey,
about proper
conspiracy.
fascism, it's not Germany. It's Italy you would want to look at. The Nazi
Well,
Party
yeah, true.
was far more like nationalist and socialist than fascist. They just got lumped in with the same group because of it being convenient to having an Axis versus Allies narrative. It made it easy.
Okay, which
The de
one? Which
facto
one
rule on the
disarmed their
ground was different in Nazi
civilization?
Germany. What was
Which
that?
one disarmed civilization?
Yeah, so there isn't anything that actually like de facto about fascism that requires individuals to
Germany.
disarm things. It is a forceful suppression of opposition, but that doesn't mean that there's like a need to necessarily disarm individuals.
Also, do you think that we're Democrats?
I'm an
I don't think
independent.
that the Democrats know, but your ideology and your belief up here in your neurological system makes me tend to think that you actually support a tyrannical government disarming civilization.
Bro can see our nervous systems.
Whoa.
No,
That's pretty
your
funny.
critical
I
thinking
don't know
process.
anybody else with that capability. How did you acquire that?
Dude, the
It's your
CIA is gonna
critical.
love you.
What I'm sitting here telling you is the way that you're sitting here talking makes me it makes it out to believe that you support a tyrannical government that silences the truth and suppresses the truth from being out there. They want to disarm society,
Oh,
and here you are being a little pedestal backing what they're sitting there saying because they
So
use mind.
let me
oh.
ask you this: do you
Not
think that the?
necessarily.
Oh, go ahead, Snake.
I was going to say, not necessarily. All you're describing is state censorship, which can
Yeah,
happen under any
Hey,
ideological
that's
government.
Tina. Down in the comments, you could call me crazy all you want to.
Are you
I'm.
talking to the comments or are you talking to us? If you
I
keep
don't.
addressing commenters like
Shut the
it's
fuck up,
your
bro.
like
Shut the fuck up
like
and go
it's your
make
job, we're not gonna entertain you. We're not gonna let you just speak to commenters. It's a conversation with us. So
who
we're
the
gonna let Solid say what they were saying and then you can respond to that.
okay, and who the fuck are you, Cole?
They're Cole.
I'm Cole.
You're
I'm
nobody
I'm a
important.
person. I don't know
Who
what
the
you want
fuck are
from
you?
Yeah,
me.
What are you asking?
you are not important. You are not important. So pipe down.
They're just
Oh,
as
in this
important as
space,
you.
I actually am kind of important.
They're just as
No.
important, or if not more
In
important,
this
in my opinion.
space, I'm just the I didn't say it. I didn't even say it. So,
Yeah, like they've shown to me that they can contribute to like having a discussion with individuals and trying to teach individuals why certain ways of thinking harm society rather than help.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you. I don't fellowship with darkness. Y'all
What's the
are
darkness? I'm an
nothing but a
atheist.
bunch of demented demons,
I don't believe in
and I
demons.
don't fellowship.
oh, now we're demonic. Got
Oh,
it.
yes, you are. You're very demonic.
Do you
It's
think
not. It's
that?
not you. It's not you that is sitting here saying that you are. That
Hold
you are a
on.
Go
greater
ahead, Stowe. I'll keep him
that
muted.
Oh
demon.
no, I'll let him speak for a minute. This is entertaining. It shows his true
Okay,
character.
we'll go for it then. Now he wants to shut up when we are here to listen. Okay.
Kind of crazy. You think I'm gonna shut up? God gave me a voice. I got the First Amendment for a reason. Fuck you, Cole.
Yeah. So, what God is this a God that you think that created the universe as a mind?
God is somebody you don't want to try. But go ahead though,
I mean,
because when
do you
that day
think
comes,
do you
hold
think
on.
you answered
When
my
that day
question?
comes, when that day comes, you ain't going to be judged by me. You don't have. You ain't even got an answer to me.
I reject the very
Who would
notion
want
that
to
a
judge?
mind can create the universe. That the universe
Who
that
would
there's a
want to
moment in
judge?
time where the universe did not exist and this mind did. I reject that as absurd because it leads to direct contradictions.
But you believe what is told to you by these quote unquote paid scientists.
No, I don't just necessarily take it at face value. I weigh the evidence versus the claims, and I draw logical conclusions based off of that. When it comes down to
Yeah.
naturalistic beliefs, I have very good priors to say, hey, if I drop this rag, gravity's going to work. Like, I can repeatedly test this. So when people are making a natural claim about how gravity works, we can look at the evidence and test it and come to conclusions about how it works. When it comes down to
And
supernatural things, these things are things that we cannot test.
I will add real quick that there has been a lot of research in the past century that has been done that we have to look at that research for what it is, quote unquote research. Some of it we don't even realize because it's so like flawed in its methodology, in its group size, or where they get that information from. Like sometimes they only speak to the parents and never talk to the child, and the parents are the ones saying, yeah, my child's queer. Oh, now, no, they're not, when their child is never even spoken to. So we don't know if that's true. So a lot of this research we have to look through and say, this research is stuff that is based, it's peer reviewed, it can be repeated, it's showing up in a lot of different studies to look the same here, that's the science that we actually research and listen to and really dig deep into.
Okay.
But yeah, like, I mean, if you're gonna call us demonic, I mean, that just is. Oh, and they ran.
What
So
the
about to say
fuck?
this pushes like a very far right us versus them. That is like a de facto fascist talking point is to try to make it an us versus them situation and to use nationalism, and try to make it a use groupthink instead of individualized things. Individualized,
Mhm.
individualized thinking. Ugh, my brain just went no.
Yeah, that was wild. By the way, we didn't drop him. He ran. Um, I I was literally like, oh my god. He was so uneducated on the topic that like the stimulation that I usually get from talking to somebody on a live or in other situations, like I wasn't getting it. So my ADHD is just sitting here like completely unquenched. Like I'm looking at everything else because I can't stay focused on this. Oh, by the way, I don't know if I told y'all, but I might have probably have combined type ADHD, which I kind of thought before I got diagnosed at 20 and went through the testing, but then I was diagnosed with inattentive ADHD, and now I'm seeing a new doctor slash counselor who is a lot more experienced in these things, and I have had one appointment with him, and obviously he's not going to like diagnose it on the spot with one appointment, but he's looking at me and he's like, I got to remember that we're still getting to know each other, but if I'd been seeing you for 3 months and saw this behavior, I would say your ADHD meds are not working. So sorry about my ramble, side note, but yeah, I was just like, I can't even engage in this because it's not keeping me focused.
Does that actually? Oh
I
no,
love
that did.
I love the fact that he was yelling about censorship and fascism. And then when I tried to describe the fact that state censorship is a complete difference to fascism and just censorship in general is different state censorship, I was immediately spoken over and ignored by him, which is
I
quite literally censoring another person, ironically.
I've come to believe that
Good.
the U.S. had a lot of great ideas that were very progressive for the time, but I think that this believing that the founding fathers were so ahead of their time and like they were infallible is a really terrible thing to do, and I think we should be moving away more from saying that the First Amendment is something that's great and like infallible to being open about the fact that as morally from a moral perspective, rights, your freedom of speech stops the moment that you're infringing upon other people's heart or other people's rights or causing them their rights to be diminished. Um, do I think that people should be able to broadly speak freely? Absolutely. But if it's used to cause harm, I don't think that there's a moral way to justify that.
I think it's good. The one good thing that came from that is that he showed his colors very clearly. It was it, it was fucking wild listening to all the different things that he had to say about us. Okay, mod break. Tap the screen if you enjoy these conversations. Share it with a friend if you enjoy these conversations. Comment if you enjoy these conversations. All of these things help us to increase our viewership so we get up so that we can continue to have these conversations. And sometimes we've actually had conversations where people have listened and learned. I mean, they're few and far between. Thank you, Solid, for sharing the live again and again with me.
You
So
said to share it.
yeah, I did. And if you want to spam me with those shares, you can do that, or you can share it with somebody else who isn't here, maybe. But that's up to you. So anyways, if you want to spam a friend with shares, go for it. You can share it with me. And yeah, I think that's pretty much all. Just keep the conversations going. If here's what I'll tell you, Shirley, not having seen any of your other comments up to this point, saying I don't know whether to request, that's the only one I've seen. We match people's energies. We also follow TikTok terms of service. So even if I have to interrupt somebody for a certain misinformation, then I'm gonna do it in a kind way if you're also being kind. Like, I'm not gonna like be mean to people for no reason, but I will like interject when I need to and all that good stuff. Same with host, same with Solid. But yeah, hi.
We do have a request though. Hi, can I get your age and pronouns, please?
18, he, him.
Do you disagree with the prompt?
Yes, I do.
Why?
Because I believe that you can't change what you were born as, regardless of beliefs or feelings or whatever's going on in your head or in your life. What you were born as is simply what you were born as.
I don't think you believe that to the degree that you might think you do. Do you believe that that you can change aspects of your body and stuff?
Sure, you can change what you look like, but you can't change what you are.
Well, isn't what you are de facto, like your physical being, able to be changed?
You can alter your body to whatever you want it to look like, but it's still not going to change what you biologically are.
Oh, there it is. It's a sex thing. I figured it out.
Yeah,
If I
but
dress up as something and believe to be that thing, and I look like that thing, would I become that thing?
Okay, here's my question
maybe
for you.
actually. I would actually say maybe.
Possibly, yes. Okay. So, this is my question for you. I'm going to use a trans man as an example here. So, somebody who is assigned female at birth but identifies as a man. Do you think that that trans man does not understand that they were born female? Do you think that they reject that?
Yeah, they do reject that because of the fact that
No.
they do reject
I
that
heard
because of
from
the
this
fact
trans mask person in my life that a lot of trans people, large majority of us, if we're not trans medicalists, then we accept our biological sex, even though we also accept that we can change aspects of it, or get rid of certain sex characteristics. We realize what we were born as, and we do accept it. Funny enough, and my example was with a trans man.
if you were to accept it, then why would you change it? Because accepting something is accepting it as its whole. That's like saying, I'll accept a cookie, but I'm not going to accept the whole cookie.
So here's the thing with that. First of all, not all trans people need to change anything medically, or sometimes even in the way that they present, to be valid to be trans. And so that alone would like destroy that argument. But for the people that do have that change and need that change, it's to resolve something called gender dysphoria. And it occurs, like I said, in some of the trans population, but not all of us. And it's a distress based on that difference between our gender, which we know we are, and our sex, which we also know we are. So we want to create some more alignment to relieve that distress. It doesn't mean we don't accept who we were born as. It doesn't mean we don't know that we were born female or reject that just because we choose to take some medical transitioning steps or some socially transitioning steps, or if we just change our pronouns, cut our hair, whatever, you know?
Okay, let me ask you this. What is the primary reason, aside from gender dysphoria? Because I understand that a lot of people go through that and it's a terrible thing to go through, but what is the primary reason that you would change what you were born as to be something else that you aren't?
Well, hold on.
In this situation, I know the comparison you're trying to draw, especially if you heard anything the last guest said, but no, it wouldn't be the same at all, because this is something that we have a lot of scientific research on, and in most cases, the treatment for something like a delusion would be to not confirm that delusion, not deny that delusion, give that person medication, and help them get out of that delusion. With being trans and having gender dysphoria, we are not having any sort of delusion, because we can literally look at how our brains work and see that a trans person's brain either more so aligns with how the gender, not the sex they were born as, but the gender that they are, their brain either aligns more with that, or it's just very different than either gender or the gender that is usually associated with the sex that they were assigned at birth. So you can't really make that comparison. That's not what we would call it in this case, and that's what the topic is. So you can't make that comparison unless you have any sort of scientific evidence.
Well, the fact of the matter is, there is no way to physically change the the sex and gender that you were born as, you know,
You're
because
not
gender
born as a gender. Like
people think
well,
gender is a
you
social
are, but you
construct.
don't know what that is until you're older. It develops. So
No,
like
you were born with a specific gender, and that
You're
gender that
no, you're
assigned a
born with
gender.
assigned sex or gender. It's assigned and it's associated with the sex that you're observed to be at birth. And it's not something that we choose for ourselves. It's not necessarily who we are. And we don't realize that until we develop gender, which everybody, even you, who you said you used he and pronouns, between the ages of 3 and 7 approximately, your brain developed its sense of gender. It was preset by some hormone washes and stuff that happen in utero before you were even born. But when you're developing it based off not only that preset condition in your brain, but also by what you're observing, the people that you're around and how they express their own genders. Damn, he ran. That's sad, but it is really good education to know all of this stuff. So, anyways, gender is not real and is a construct. Partially, but no, it's only partially a construct. It's a biopsychosocial schema. The social part is the construct, but you can't separate them. They work together in a way to create gender that we just can't like piece it apart like that.
Demons in the Bible are transgender, and that worship, they refer to themselves as they and them. Oh no, demons. Oh no. Hi Shirley, can I get your age and pronouns?
I'm 24 and it's she, her.
Do you disagree with the prompt?
Yeah, I'd say so.
What do you disagree with?
I do believe to a degree it's a mental illness to have an incongruence.
So having gender diversity is a mental illness? Having gender diverse ideas?
No, I'd say it's an incongruence to not be like comfortable with one sex.
Well,
Like
being
in their
transgender doesn't mean
sex
necessarily
bodies.
that you have to be uncomfortable in your own body. That it's not
So
A
you don't
therefore
believe
B.
that?
No, the
So you
DSM-5
don't believe it's
explicitly,
like dependent on?
they're independent things. They can happen independent of each other, technically.
Okay, so like what makes somebody like trans? What's like the
Yeah,
like
it's an incongruence
prerequisite
between
then?
somebody's gender that they were assigned at birth or perceived as versus their identities, the gender that they identify with.
So when you say like gender, what's your definition of gender?
Yeah, so genders are the socially constructed ways that individuals, societies, and cultures see themselves along the continuums of masculinity and femininity.
But do you think that's a good way to like?
I think it
I mean,
accurately
do you think it's like
describes all genders out there in the world. It very accurately describes them of what they are.
Would you not say gender's binary?
No, it's not. It's by the very fact that it's socially constructed means that it can't be binary. There's no
Okay, so
because you can't like mathematically deduce what gender is, or you can't hold it. It's not something that is like transcendental. You can't deduce it logically. You have to observe it through social interactions, and due to that, it's inherently going to be something that is subjective in nature. Therefore, making any binary just opinion based.
so there's no like threshold or like
Yeah, so
which
like
one has to like surpass.
just because somebody thinks that there's a binary or gender binary doesn't mean that's the actual fact.
Would you not just say like everyone's like pretty like like non-binary anyway because they don't fit like these like really like cookie cutter like archetypes of like man and woman?
Not
Do you
necessarily.
want?
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Pardon?
This goes into the discussion of like being a trans man and still expressing yourself femininely through your clothing choices or whatever, stuff like that. Even being a cis man doing that. Cis women who like butch lesbians, for example, they choose to express their gender in a way that doesn't align supposedly with the gender that they know they are. You can do all of those things and not be non-binary. There's an identity piece to everything. only that person knows what's going on in their brain and knows themselves the best. So only that person can say, this is how I identify. And it doesn't mean that when you express yourself outside of these strict either like roles or the way that you express your gender or like through your clothes and your hair, like stuff like that. But it also is like stricter gender roles and such. That doesn't make you non-binary. You just know that you are non-binary if you are non-binary and educated enough to know that it's a thing. Even before that, I knew that I wasn't a man and that I wasn't a woman for most of my life, like a very large majority of my life. And so when I found out, like, I knew what being trans was before that. I just didn't know that there was an option that wasn't binary. Didn't want to transition because I didn't want to be a man. And I found out what being non-binary is. And now I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I've been feeling my entire life. And like, there's so many different labels under here to describe different types of being non-binary that are so beautiful and special and amazing. So, yeah, it doesn't make you non-binary to not fit into certain roles. It's really based on that person's gender identity. And then they can even express femininely, masculinely, or somewhere in between.
Okay, I have 2 questions if I can kind of like keep up with what you were saying. So would you not think identity, would you not say that rather than it being a self like acknowledgement, seeing as though like gender's a social construct, would you not say that's given to us by society's like interpretation of us? And the other thing that I'm like struggling with understanding is non-binary and knowing non-binary, because I would say that I'm a woman not on the basis of my experiences or anything. I'd say that's dependent on the fact that I'm a woman, but I'd also say that's dependent on my smacks and like how I've been socialized. So yeah, sorry if that's like a bit incoherent. There was just a lot.
No. So like the first part, you're talking about how other people are perceiving your gender and if your own gender identity would be based off of that. We've actually observed the brains of trans people and how they function. We don't have like specific, I wouldn't say we have like specific, like this part of the brain is showing up male and this part of the brain is showing up female. It's more like what's that abbreviation? BNST, I think.
BNST or
Yeah, it's the part of the brain. It's basically observing how the brains function rather than like this part is this size and in whatever or in this specific placement or whatever, you know. It's about how the brains function. So when we observe the brains of trans people, trans women typically have a brain that functions like a cis woman's brain. Trans men have a brain that typically functions more like a cis man's brain. And non-binary people have a brain that functions sometimes some of both, but also a lot of times it just operates very differently in a way that we can't even necessarily like put into a binary in their observations. So like because of that, that lends itself to that identity piece that I was telling you about. So no matter how we're perceived, no matter how we perceive, like there is a nurture aspect to it, but it's mostly nature. Like we know that our brains are functioning differently than other people's, and we know oftentimes that gender is where that friction is happening, so that we're able to identify as who we are and be who we are and get rid of that friction in our lives if we can and choose to. So it's really more about that than anything. And then the thing I would say about your second part about understanding being non-binary, I would just start with acknowledging that it is a real thing that people experience. Again, we have science behind this, decades of good science actually, that show that this is accurate to people's life experiences, first of all. And then second of all, I would say you can ask any specific questions if you have them on this panel, because I am non-binary and I know a lot about this and I'm okay with it. Typically, you shouldn't just go around asking trans people questions about their transness, especially if they're not like your friend or anything. But even with your friends, you shouldn't really do that unless they're like, hey, it's okay to do that. So up here, it is okay to do that. It's hopefully an educational space. But the last thing I would leave you with is you probably will never understand what being trans is like, or how it can be a thing, or anything like that. You don't need to understand what it's like or how it exists to accept that it does exist. So yeah.
Okay, well, thank you for being like open. I appreciate it. A lot of like trans people, even though I'm honestly, I know like you're not like monolithic. I'm not like dogging on anyone, but a lot of people like take like questioning as kind of like refusal. So I appreciate that. I just wanted to touch upon the brain studies. As far as I'm aware, there's no objective female male brain, and as far as like I'm aware is that like trans women, even though it kind of intersects like slightly with like cis women, I thought there was like equivocal to like I don't know if I can say it, gay like homosexual men, and also with like the feminine aspects.
Gender and sex, I'm sorry, I have to interject, just because gender and sex do not have to do with each other in that way that the brain functions, first of all. Second of all, I did not say there was like an explicitly female way that the brain functions and an explicitly male way. There's like typical ranges in which these functions occur that we can observe. So I'm not making like this is what a female brain absolutely looks like kind of statement at any point. And what I'm saying, I am saying that A, non-binary people exist, and B, there are studies that show that our brains function differently than cis men or women oftentimes.
Okay, but I'm just saying like because the rebuttal to like one of your questions was that the brain the BNST is like different and stuff. I'd say that even though yeah they're dimorphic, the functionality of the brain can't be like done by say like someone that wants to be like a woman, right? Because it's like hormone regulation, it's like sleep regulation. That'd be altered like via like hormones, I guess. But I'm saying like
Oh, so you're saying okay, sorry.
Yeah, so I'm saying like
Sorry about
before like access to hormones, I think the brain scan like study is a bit like in the dark because I think a lot of people were taking like estrogen like prior to like the brain studies, and obviously we understand the like impact of hormones. But I'd say like natally like there's like no like objective like difference.
I mean,
Or pre-hormones, you're saying, not natally, because okay.
Like,
we have
like
seen
innately.
this. They have done research on people who are pre-transition hormonally.
I was about to say that.
And there's also like it's not even just like the phenotype. It's like there's also some other things such as like the numbers that are far more aligning with like what we'd expect within a female versus a male. Also, this is a really important part of the brain when we're like trying to like figure out what somebody, and it would make sense that this would be the area of the brain that like partially would be different than their cisgender peers, partially because of the fact that this is an area that does have regulations in social, or that does have effects on social behaviors. So it also makes sense that the people who are gay, who socially act differently, might have a different looking BSTTC or BNST than their cisgender or than their straight peers. This makes sense that people who have different social regulations are going to be different in this area. That makes complete sense.
But I'm saying like it's not like conclusive, right? So it's a bit like in the dark within that.
Well, yeah,
And
but I don't.
because you don't want to use like a range of, typically this is how a male brain looks and typically this is how a female brain looks. Is it because you don't like the range aspect of it that you're saying like forget about it, or is it something else? Like, I'm just trying to understand here.
like, I'd say it's not like completely like conclusive, because then won't we like utilize the brain scans to then deduce like who was trans with like less of like a like detrans rate?
Well, the rate isn't high to begin with.
Pardon?
The rate, like, a detransitioning rates are not high to begin with. The number and reason
Yeah,
why
but, like-
people detransition is because they're not socially accepted. This is something we
And
can
if you're-
change massively.
And if you're just, one quick fact, if you're just wondering about the people who detransition because they're not actually trans, that would be 0.6% of people who receive medical transition.
Yeah, but I'd say like even so, that's like it's like life altering if you're on like estrogen,
But-
testosterone, like it can like.
So is a
affect,
hip
like,
replacement.
Yeah.
Ask my
Yeah,
dad. It's like,
I
sorry.
agree, but I'm saying like there should be like more of a conclusive way of like you can see that like a hip's like broken. We kind of have to take like the like consistency and like persistency of people.
Do you think that we
Um,
should?
We already do.
We should regulate other types of like cosmetic surgeries this way as well. You know, just say,
Yeah.
hey, you know,
Yeah, I
these
don't
have.
believe in.
Oh god.
Sorry, I don't believe in like cosmetic surgery. I believe a lot of it's like preys on like insecurities. In like an ideal world, if I had like a little magic wand, I'd like everyone to be like happy with themselves. I think like beauty standards are kind of like naff. I try like limiting myself like regarding like makeup and such as well. I just think, yeah, I believe in like restorative. Like say if you've had like say you've had like your breast removed due to like cancer or something such as that, then I believe like you should restore it because it was like previously there.
Well, that doesn't make sense because like it's not. People can just get over the fact that they're like your logic is saying that people can just get over this fact when that's like just not necessarily the case.
In like what degree? In what
Yeah.
like aspect?
Like that people are not going to have feel discomfort about their body because of the fact that something's changed or something, not even something's changed, but their body just simply isn't the way that they want it to be. There's very real reasons why people and like while I do agree that there are social implications of beauty standards and stuff that we need to be pushing back on, like these kinds of things, there are genuine reasons why somebody would naturally just feel like they want to fit in more, and that's something that might not necessarily always go away by simply just talking with them and going to therapy and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I feel like a lot of it's like perpetuated by like these like societal like roles and standards, and I don't agree with that like on a baseline.
So you really
feel like
think
acceptance-
social contagion is a part of it?
in regarding to like cosmetic surgery.
Yeah, you're kind of
Yeah.
and being trans, because like
Well,
you're equivocating them, so
I mean, as far as I'm like aware, I thought there was like a surge in like detrans, and there was like a surge in like people like
Let's-
transitioning.
Let's look at this or think about this for a second. If more people are identifying as transgender, do you think that the numbers of people who are quote unquote or not quote unquote just like claiming to transition are also going to rise?
Pardon, can you repeat that? I can't like really hear you very well.
If
Sorry.
we have a huge number of people who are coming out as transgender now, don't you think that the rates of or not even the rates, just the number of people who are what we'd say like detransitioning for one reason or another are also going to rise?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so
But I
It-
thought
it's
it was
almost like-
astronomically.
it's almost like the people as we get better at diagnosing these things and they're more socially acceptable, the rates of these things are going to go up. The thing that the absolute number, the thing that we need to be looking at are the rates. And what we haven't seen is we haven't seen a huge rise in people like detransitioning for long periods of time because they simply were not transgender or they regretted what they did. even among some of the most like famous people who are quote unquote detransitioned, a lot of them don't say that they regretted anything that they had done to their body. A lot of them will
Mhm.
push back if you try to get them to say that, and it's one of the biggest things that like I think is a huge hole in some of the opposition, is that they so desperately want people to regret what they did, but they don't. They fundamentally don't. The regret rates on surgeries and medical affirmation are incredibly low. They're some of the lowest of any sort of medical, um, you know, sort of medical intervention. And I think it's really
Mhm.
important to acknowledge that when we're seeing these, we're talking about people quote unquote detransitioning, and there is lots of research that's looked into why people are, and the majority of it comes from the fact that it's external, not internal. That
You know
society
what
is
I
a
just realized? Sorry, go ahead.
good.
I just realized that because of the political state in America right now, certain states and certain federal regulations on especially trans youth getting access to gender affirming care, things like that, we actually because everybody felt safe for a while to start coming out, and we felt like, okay, it's safe to access this healthcare. We have access to it. The state is helping us pay for it. If we're on Medicaid or Medicare, stuff like that, if we're disabled and need that kind of thing. Um, and then everything switched, but it happened pretty quick. So now you have a bunch of the population that has come out, and you have the social rejection increase. You have the increase in legislation against us, stopping us from getting access to that healthcare, oftentimes, whether we want to continue or not. That's all considered detransition, and that getting worse so quickly, probably you'd probably expect the detransition rates to go up a bit.
I don't think we
We
have
aren't
seen that
even
though.
seeing that yet,
Yeah.
but I'm just thinking that this past I feel like decade or so has just been are we safe, are we not, people coming out, and now it's just okay, we might see this in the future. It would make sense to me logically that more people would have come out, felt safe to get the care that they need, and now they don't feel safe anymore, and or don't have access to that care for financial reasons or whatever else. It just makes sense to me.
You said trans youth, so you believe there's such thing as children experiencing gender dysphoria and such.
Yeah, I was one of those kids.
I wouldn't say it's as common for gender dysphoria, but it
Trans
is.
adults were trans kids, whether they had dysphoria or not. But go ahead. So
Yeah, so gender dysphoria can, from my understanding, it's not something that necessarily always is from birth or from a young age. It can be onset with the things such as puberty, where it would make sense that this is possible too, where this is a time that people's bodies make a lot of changes,
Mhm.
and there's a lot of different things that we can look at for this. Sorry, my mind just blinked for a second. What were we talking about? Oh, children. Yes. Or adolescents. What I would say is that when it comes down to the social aspects of being transgender, I think that there's two different parts that we can look at. There's the gender dysphoria side of things, which I think it doesn't happen as
Mhm.
much within adolescence. And then there's the mental social side of being transgender and fitting in with the social aspect of gender. And I think that there's a lot of people who, even myself, I feel like for a long time, I didn't make a distinction between the two, but there is some difference between the two, and when they would onset or when we would expect individuals to come out as transgender. And when it comes down to social aspects of it, we actually understand that people who are transgender are going to have, gender nonconforming behavior and gender diverse ideas from a young age.
So you're saying the gender dysphoria is not really prevalent within adolescents. I would have thought that to be the opposite.
It might not always. I'm not entirely sure if it goes. The biggest thing is that it depends. I would say, because as kids, males and females are very similar. They have very their bodies have similar bone density. They're similar height to within a range. There is a lot of dimorphism. It is the onset of puberty that and the production of testosterone or estrogen that really drives things such as like hair growth and that kind of things, and strength and a lot like the deepening of people's voices. It's it more exacerbates any sort of any differences that there would be.
Dimorphism.
Yeah. So
I
that's the
agree.
reason why that like people might not necessarily have as much gender dysphoria, but I would still expect some individuals to have some sort of dysphoria over it. For me, Henry.
Yeah, I had gender dysphoria. It just wasn't over my physical body when I was a kid. I still had gender dysphoria. It may have been over my hair or my clothes or like the kids that wouldn't play with me at recess because you've still got like, ooh, boy cooties, all that shit that like I was expected to fit into. And so I definitely had dysphoria as a kid. I can remember having it very, very early. I can remember showing behaviors that would align now with who I am. And yeah, I just like it didn't I didn't have dysphoria over my physical body until I hit puberty.
So you meant I just got a quick question. I thought the BNST wasn't active until puberty. That's when it like is dimorphic. And is that not like the driving force for like
Well, there's other parts of the
like
brain that regulate social behaviors.
And
That's
your
the
gender
important thing, too.
identity as well, which like I said earlier is developed around the ages of 3 to 7 in any given child. So once your gender identity is developed, you can tell whether you fit into a group or not. You know that.
I'd say like anecdotally, like I was like a pretty like masculine child up until like probably like perhaps puberty. You know, I don't know if that's like any relevance. I don't want to go on like a tangent, but I'd say that was just like imitation from like my dad perhaps. I wouldn't say that's when you say like gender identity, like what are you like referencing?
The psychological aspect of the psychosocial schema that is gender.
Biological. Wait.
No, I
Wait,
said the psychological part of the biopsychosocial schema that is gender.
So wait, correct me if I'm wrong. The schema's like how the brain, like, is it like stores like behaviors and such for then us to like kind of like replicate kind of thing?
When I say schema, I'm just saying that all three, like some of these things, like the social aspect, has nothing to do with the brain in that way, but they all work to. Sorry if there's loud cars and loud four-wheelers around. But we're talking about how all of these things interplay with each other, rather than like piecing them apart. So like the schema I'm talking about is that like you've got the biological aspect, which is how your brain is functioning. You've got the psychological aspect, which is your gender identity. And you've got the social aspect, which is not only how you have received signals of gender from other people, but also how you present those signals to other people.
Yeah, but I'd say that's like entirely subjective because it's like your own like schema with like reinforcement from like your environment and such. But then I'd say that that's completely subjective. So, like my
Gender is
perception of women-
subjective.
Yeah, but then I'm saying like if like the definition of like woman or man's like completely subjective, should we not like base it on something that's like objective?
There's times when we need to, like when we're trying to write laws and stuff like that, but a lot of it, I would say, I would push back on there being much of a need a lot of the times for it to be objective. I think a lot of people say, they're like, oh, all of a sudden women rights are going to crumble. It's like, no, I wouldn't base people's having rights based off of what gender or sex they are. I would base it off of the fact that they're human beings and they're individuals. Like, these are things that are like we can acknowledge that certain subgroups have like historically been oppressed, but that doesn't mean that we
Mhm.
we need to keep these rigid definitions that would actually just cause more oppression if we keep them.
So, like, what oppression do you think would like conquer if like we just kept like woman as like the biological sense? Well, not
Yeah.
biological, like the female sense.
So it would lead to individuals not being able to freely express their gender, which I would just find as a fundamental violation of the human rights.
But could you not like express like gender without like the label of like woman?
It
Yeah,
would
but
still
it's
cause dysphoria and distress.
yeah, it would not even just be a violation of their freedom. It can lead to harm, in the sense that rejecting somebody's
So
gender.
much harm.
Yeah, it can.
Preach.
The number one leading.
Oh, dude, I didn't even recognize who you were in the comments. Hi, it's been a minute. Welcome back. Sorry about that.
Yeah, like the number
Okay,
one
so-
predictor of mental health outcomes within transgender youth is if they're just accepted by their family or not. Oh, you're
Oh
cutting
shit, my
out.
connection sucks.
Nah, it's great. No, it's terrible. Sorry.
Wait, I genuinely did not hear anything. I'm sorry. I need to like move out of my space real quick. Hold on, give me 1 second because I don't hear anything.
Yeah, your connection's kind of ass. Not gonna lie. But yeah, like as I was saying though, is that
This
like
cat is beating you up for your connection. Okay, sorry, continue.
the like number one predictor of mental health outcomes are going to be just acceptance within transgender youth. So if they're not like if we just accept people for being who they are or claim to be, depression rates and anxiety are basically identical to their peers. Only anxiety is a little bit elevated, and that's honestly great. That's great to hear that we can do something that's really quite easy to do, and it solves a lot of the problems up front.
Hello?
We can hear you.
Oh, hi. I don't know who. If somebody was talking to me, I'm so sorry. My connection was ass for a second. Hi, everybody. I just wanted to say hi.
Yeah, I just wanted to say hi too. All I said was I didn't recognize who you were in the comments, and then you came up, and now I heard your voice, and I was like, oh, it's that dude. I remember him. So yeah, hi.
Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up? All right. I'll mute myself. Yeah, I just want to say hi though.
All right, Shirley, where were we?
They're apparently on a phone call, so
What was that?
they're on a phone call.
Ooh.
So we have some time to just chill, I guess.
We can talk about these fellas.
I also want to know how solid's been.
Look at this guy. He's so murderous. He's a Wolverine. Did you
I
guys
want to
know
know
that
how
Wolverines?
solid's been. Sorry. Wolverines.
Yeah, they're part of the weasel family. They are in fact weasels. Oh my god.
And this is in fact a ferret.
He looked weird. He doesn't have the same, or she, I don't know. They don't have the same stripies.
It's the same one. It's just when he was a baby. So he didn't have the stripes when he was younger, or not as many at least.
Oh.
Also, it's the camera angle. There are lighter brown stripes that probably became white later on.
Makes sense.
Does that mean that that the Wolverine is a weasel? Yes, it does mean that they're big ol' weasels.
Here's an older picture of the same ferret.
Oh my god.
Adorable.
Ignore the mounting jukebox in the background. The reason that's there is because apparently he loves mounting jukeboxes specifically.
Do we have any ops up here at all? Are you guys all
Sure.
friendlies?
Shirley is or Charlene is on a phone call, but she is.
Yeah, disagrees. Yeah, but it's not a phone call.
No. I'm Stoat's highest level fan club person, and I'm the biggest opposition here.
Banned. No.
Right, you're being serious?
I'm so serious. I'm such big opposition right now.
You've seen some wild.
Come on,
but-
man! Don't fuck around with me if you're being serious or not. Like, if you're being serious,
He's never
say it,
being
man.
serious. The default you should have was solid. Here's a tip. The default was solid. Never take her seriously until it's like a serious thing she says. Like most of it's BS.
Put it this
That
way.
makes no
It's not-
sense.
No, it's not really that. It's more the fact that you can tell when I'm serious. If you can't tell, I'm likely either taking the piss or just tired.
And you did say you were tired at the beginning of this live.
Good point, but I'm almost always tired. Let me add extra tired then.
So you think like gender dysphoria is like a mental illness?
Yeah.
You know, actually, not even a question for you. This is like a question kind of for like everybody, because like I don't like, me personally, as somebody who's trans, like I don't really think it's like, I get why people think it's like a thing. I just think it's like being gay. Like you're born a certain way. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think it's
Well,
like
yeah,
a
but to
mental
be fair-
illness. Right.
Yeah, but to be fair, the reason why it's classified like that is it's seen as a stress-based disorder, the same as like
It's
it's seen as a stress-based disorder. You don't have to have gender dysphoria to be trans. It's not a necessary condition, and so you can be trans and
yeah.
not
I
have
don't
gender
agree with that at
dysphoria.
all.
It's,
I don't agree with that at all.
It's the fact that it
And I
affects
might
people's
like
lives.
fuck myself up here.
Wait,
and
you
like
think you have to have gender dysphoria to be trans?
in a way, yeah. I was about to say, hold on, before I get fucking dragged, because I know I'm about to get fucking dragged.
I mean, I want to
okay?
hear you
I
out,
know.
but we
I know
aren't
I'm
for
gonna
trans
get dragged, but
medicalists.
Me
That's
at the
it.
moment.
No, I know I'm about to get dragged. I understand I'm about to get dragged, but yes, I do kind of yes, because like, so then like, what makes somebody trans if they don't have gender dysphoria? Like, what is it? If they don't have gender dysphoria, how are you not like? You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
but that's gender dysphoria, no?
No. Listen.
The distress from the gender. Sorry, go ahead, Solid.
I was gonna say, the incongruence itself is what makes you trans. Gender dysphoria is distress caused by the incongruence.
It's the distress that's the difference mostly. It's
So wait. Can somebody like dumb this down? Like, let's say like somebody has, I don't know. This is probably not like the best example to use, but let's just say somebody has like depression. Can somebody like use it as like that type of thing, real quick?
Yeah. So when
if you can,
when we're talking about depression, the reason why we see it as problematic is like problematic or something that needs to be looked at or you know, not fixed, because you can't fix it. But the reason why we even consider like classify it as a mental health issue is because it causes I would say it causes distress, along with it can lead to danger as well. It can put, you know, especially in severe cases of depression, can lead to things such as suicide ideation, unfortunately.
Yeah, I would qualify just quality of life. If it's lesser quality of life, it can be classified as mental illness, physical disability, whatever else it happens to be. But yeah,
it causes dysfunction, deviance, or it's not deviance, it's dysfunction or distress and dangers for the reason why. When it comes to something like gender dysphoria, it's simply the distress that it causes that can lead to things such as dysfunction. A lot of people think that it's like deviance from the norm that's seen as the problem, but that was with GID, and one of the reasons why GID was gotten rid of gender identity disorder.
Wait, I'm sorry. What is GID? Gender
identity disorder. I realized I'm like, shit, I should probably say what that was. It was the DSM-3.
I'm sorry, no, I do know a lot of fucking terms, but shit like that, I'm sorry, I'm just like, I get fucking lost. It's not that
it's okay. We will take our time.
I'm not like, I'm what the hell is that word called? Whatever. I basically want to learn. Like, I'm not trying to be a douche, but like, yeah.
You are a douche. Ingy Weasel.
That's fine. You could think that. That's fine. I don't blame you for thinking that.
Educational live is what I said earlier, and I still stand by that. We hope to educate people that are open to learning, so feel free.
One of the things that I've learned is that the largest difference between GID and gender dysphoria was that it classified these gender nonconforming, gender diverse, and like just you're not normal shit as being a problem. And with gender dysphoria, we realized that this was classified fallaciously, we didn't actually have evidence to show that this was a problem in any way, other than the fact that people were getting like bullied for it and being harassed because of it. So it's really just other people being the problem with it. And we actually see that when people are just supported and accepted like everybody else in the world is, that these problems just disappear, and it is simply the distress that's left that causes any sort of problem.
Okay, so like, all right, so like somebody who's like, and listen, I'm not trying to be an asshole. Please don't fucking rag me. I'm really not trying to be a dick.
No,
I
you
am a
seem like
trans
you're good
guy.
faith, so
Yeah,
I'm not
like
gonna.
I seriously,
Yeah,
like
and
I'm
we've
not
talked
trying to be an
before.
asshole.
More than
But,
good
like-
faith, is it okay if I ask if I remember if you're cis or trans?
No, I'm a trans guy.
See,
Right?
okay, so more than good faith here. Like, we've talked before, and I definitely know he's trying to just understand things, like I did at first, for sure.
Well, like, all right, so like I got dragged one time for basically like me personally. Okay, like I'm a trans guy, right? And like I don't know if you guys are gonna think this is transphobic, okay? Like, and I get it. Like, you guys can think I'm an asshole. I believe that's not like I'm not trying to be, but I basically got dragged one time because I had posted a poll on fucking like Snapchat, and it was like a questions poll, and this trans woman who was just like way bigger than me, way taller than me. Me personally, I don't like trans women. Like, I'm not gonna say I don't like them. I like cis women. I've always liked cis women. Like, I don't like, whatever. Cool, right?
Is it a height thing, or is
No,
it about
hold
them
on.
being trans?
No, yeah, hold on. I'm gonna get to that. I think it's just more of like, I don't know. I really don't know. I like cis women. I don't know. Like, I have no idea, but I've also never sat here. All right, basically what happened was I posted a poll, and she asked me, she's like, oh, like, what are you into? I said, girls, girls, girls. She's like, oh, are you into trans women? And I was like, I don't really think that's like my cup of tea. Like, me personally, I think it's a preference. Like, it's just like, listen, I'm trans myself, and I get that, but like, I just rather cis women. That's just my preference. But she sat here and called me transphobic. You guys can sit here and think I'm transphobic, and you can explain to me as to why. But like, I personally just didn't think so. Also, she was a non-binary trans woman. So I asked her. I was like, so what does that mean? Like, when you're a non-binary trans woman? Because like, I understand non-binary, but like when you're a non-binary trans woman, it kind of confuses me because like she was taking like HRT, but like she still wanted to be considered like, and like she would like flaunt a lot of things around if you guys are catching what I'm throwing, and that's fine.
Yeah, you
but-
actually told us this story before. Just so
Right,
you
right,
know,
right.
feel free to catch us up again. But yeah,
Wait,
So you guys still think I'm transphobic for that?
okay.
Excuse me?
So I think we got into some discussion about this last time, but it was towards the
Yeah, I
end of
don't
the live, and
remember.
I can't remember.
Yeah,
where
I
we
can't
ended up.
remember what everybody said. I think I got dragged.
But like, it's
okay.
really based off of the fact, like, if a trans woman presented fully as a cis woman, you don't know that she's a trans woman, like, would you possibly be interested in them?
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
Okay, so it sounds like it's preferences more so about how a person presents. Some things in their control, some things out of their control, like height or hair
Yeah.
color or whatever else. But some things like the way they present or their genitals or whatever it is, like that's a preference. That's something that you can have a preference about without being transphobic. You just have to break it down enough to know, hey, is it about the fact that this person is trans that I'm not into them, or is it the fact that they meet XYZ trans stereotypes, and XYZ trans stereotypes are all not preferences of mine? So like, even if she was cis, I wouldn't be into her type of deal. If that's the case, then yeah, you're not transphobic. You just have preferences.
I mean, all right. So like, she asked me. She was like, "Well, does it have to do with genitalia?" And I was like, "I mean, kind of, sort of." But like, my thing is, all right. So like, I don't like, me personally. If a cis woman doesn't want to date me because I'm trans, I don't think that's transphobic. I just kind of take that more as a preference. And I honestly, like, me personally, I don't really care to like, get into the details as to why you don't want to date me because I'm trans or whatever the case may be. I'm just gonna be like, okay, you don't want to date me because I'm a trans guy, and I'm gonna assume it's more because of like genitalia kind of thing or whatever the case may be. Or the person's very ignorant, like me, as like, and does that make sense? Like, like I personally don't think it's transphobic if somebody doesn't want to date me because I'm a trans guy. Like I don't think that's transphobic. I think it's more of a preference. But a lot of people don't agree with me on that, and they think that like that person would be transphobic. But like I don't see it that way.
So within the same breath, you kind of said initially, like, if someone doesn't want to date me because I'm trans, and then you started to say maybe it's about like, and you don't have to get into it. I'm not asking you to, but
Yeah, I got it.
you were like, maybe it's about genitals or whatever else, and that distinction really is what we're looking at here. If it's about
It's transphobia essentially. Yeah.
so if it's
I'm
about
gonna.
trans,
Okay.
you being trans, then it's transphobia. But if it's about you being shorter than the average guy or their preference, the way that your face structure is versus they like a stronger jaw or whatever the fuck, like, I don't know exactly how you present either. So like, I
No,
can't say
yeah.
this is all just for example. If it's about genitalia, even that is a preference. Where those preferences are not transphobic. But if it's solely because somebody is trans, that's when it becomes transphobic.
That's not. Yeah. Okay. I get. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, I get it. I mean, she asked me if it was like because of like genitalia, and I was like, I mean, like, yeah, essentially, like, kind of, like, I like cis women, like, and like, she called me transphobic, and I was like, what the fuck, like that just kind of like blew mine, but like people like understand what I'm saying, and some people don't, and then there's people like you guys that sit here and like educate me as to why. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate that. I'm not trying to be a dick at all. Like seriously, I'm not. Like,
Yeah, and even if you don't like, if you still want to be able to express yourself without saying things that sometimes can be inflammatory, I would just rephrase things to be like, I typically I'm into cis women because they meet my preferences of the person that I want to be with.
noted.
Like, because
Noted.
again, if you said if you met a trans woman, didn't know she was trans, and she presented fully like a cis woman, you could be into her. And if that's the case, like, you're not transphobic, it's just kind of about how you say it. And you have to put emphasis on it being because they typically meet preferences of like height, the way they hold their body weight sometimes, the way that their skin is, which for trans women on HRT, it does become very, very similar, if not the same. So I do want to say that as well, as you probably know as a man, having been on HRT, having gone through that change in the opposite direction. I'm speaking as somebody who also has gone through that change in the opposite direction, having been on HRT myself. So
honestly, yeah, okay, I'm listening. I'm sorry.
So if you just pretty much that's all I was saying. If you just put a little bit more emphasis on, I typically, and I think putting the word like typically, normally, usually, something like that would also be helpful. I'm typically into cis women because of these preferences that I have, and cis women fall into those preferences typically, whereas trans women just don't typically tend to fall into those preferences. So yeah, sorry.
Honestly, I forgot what I was trying to say.
I am going to interject here. Yeah, because we do have a new guest. Is it Jackson?
Sorry.
Is that your name?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Can I get your age and pronouns, please?
I'm 18 and I'm he, him.
Do you disagree with the prompt?
I would say you can say, like, if you're a man and you say you're a woman, you can say that, but that still, like, that doesn't change your sex. You're still a man.
I don't think we disagree here to some extent. Like, I mean, it depends on how you're defining sex.
Yeah, I don't agree with you, dude. I don't agree with you.
It's just gender that we're talking about, not sex. It's not like, oh, I'm suddenly a female. No, it would be I'm a woman. But
exactly. So, like, if you're saying a man wants to call themselves a woman, like,
they're still a man.
Exactly, but trans women are women and trans men are men. So if a trans man says, I'm a woman, they're not a woman, they're still a trans man, they're still who they are. Just because somebody says they're something doesn't mean that that makes them that thing.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, how do you feel about a trans man being in the women's bathroom?
That should not be allowed at all.
Wait, hold on. So just hearing my voice right now, right? Just
Yes,
hearing
sir.
my voice, do you think that I should be in the women's bathroom?
No.
Okay, so I'm
What
a
about
trans
mine?
guy.
Sorry.
No, you get call.
What bathroom should I be in?
Your voice sounds more feminine.
Oh, okay. Well, good to know anyway.
Well,
We'll
what
just
about
stick
my
with
voice
our
then?
Nah,
friendship
chill out.
initially.
Nah, chill out.
Nah, my
All right.
question is, what about my voice then?
Your voice definitely sounds more like a man.
That's a whole ass woman.
That is
Cisgender as well. Not even trans.
true, but like
I was about to say that person isn't even trans. That's just a whole ass cis woman there.
hey, I
See,
mean you can have a manly voice and be a woman.
Okay, yeah, but there's trans guys that pass extremely well, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I passed extremely fucking well. So for me to sit here and be in the women's bathroom, like I'm
That's
gonna
no.
get
Wait.
okay.
Yeah, pops.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Jackson. Go ahead.
I think their dad called them or something. I heard yeah pops.
Oh.
Not for my grandpa. Just opened my door.
Oh, okay. All good.
How old are you?
18.
Okay.
I did ask this.
What year were you born?
2008 July 2nd.
2000.
Okay.
Oh, you're a Cancer?
Yeah.
Oh,
Cancer
July-
gay.
wait,
I'm a Cancer too. My boy.
You understand that 2008 July 2nd would
July
make you 17.
Wait.
No, July
That's why I
2nd,
asked this
2008,
question. This is a child.
July 2nd would
He
make you
sounds like
17.
a child, though. That's why I
Correct.
asked.
That's a child.
Yeah, you're 17,
yeah.
not 18.
Yeah,
That's a
2008
child.
G.
It would have been July 2nd, 2007, or it would have been prior to April 25th in 2008 in order to meet 18.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't do that shit in my head. That's why I asked him, because like he seemed mad young.
TikTok terms of service.
Bro, so
maybe
close,
you'll
yeah.
sound the same at 18, bro. I'm
Yeah, that's
close.
fine. But
No,
he just I get it. But
listen to consent, Jackson.
Oh, okay.
You
To
need
be
to
fair,
learn consent.
to
When
be
somebody
fair-
says no,
Oh, wait, no.
the answer is no.
It's. I thought it was May for a second. I'm like, to be fair, it's like
he
a
said
week.
July. That's why I said
It's
Cancer.
some
I said
change away,
Cancer.
but no, it's a month and a week and some change. Yeah, the reason the one I would personally not have a huge problem about it, but it's TikTok terms of service. I can't. It's
No, yeah, he
they have
just
me bound in gags.
That's why
But
I
like,
asked.
dude,
I was so ready to ask that when you first asked their age because I was like, they really do not sound 18, but obviously
Yeah, I'm
voices
glad I
can
caught
be
it eventually.
confusing. Voices can be
used to
confusing,
sound
so
like
obviously
I
I'm not only going to judge based off that. But just the way they were talking and stuff definitely seemed young. Again, that can match with 18, so it's hard to tell. So it's like, do we ask the question or not? And then when they said
Dude,
July
honest-
2nd, it's like,
See, I think like
Well,
one
that's obviously 17.
1 year does a lot.
What I would say about the earlier conversation is when you talk about if they're homophobic or transphobic, I think it really would just matter more of what the thoughts of trans people are. I would honestly just get to know them in that way, and that like if they are like if they're just being transphobic and so, like they don't think that trans people exist or something like that. If they don't think they exist, that they're lesser in some way, and they don't go with like the consensus that hey, they're just people. Let's just treat them like people and be chill with them. That's like that would just be the red flag that I would look for. I think that there is some natural propensity for humans to be like, I don't know what this is, and I'm freaked out about it, and they just reject it out of that. And I don't think
that
that's
makes
necessarily
sense,
something
yeah.
we should harm people over, but it's something that we should definitely work
Mhm.
and pressure against. Like it's this weird middle ground of saying, hey, this isn't ideal, but it's not wrong to be like freaked out about some things that are unknown. This is a very natural human instinct that is, it's deeply ingrained in ourselves because it's fucking life saving for us. It has historically been. But we have brains, we can think logically now. And it's really just trying to push against that, intuition. That would be what I would say.
especially with a kid, like keep asking questions. Don't be deterred from going to lives similar to this one and staying in the chat. To be abundantly clear, this is a TikTok wide thing. You cannot be on live until you are 18. But in the chat, you can get a lot of information and ask questions down there, and we'll answer questions. But like, don't do that.
Yeah, like if worse comes to it, just wait. Put it this way: it's literally 1.5 months away. You're nearly there. What's that? 6 weeks. I'm sure you can wait 6 weeks to go on lives, mate.
Crimes against snowmen have been committed.
Barry jailed for crimes against humanity.
Barry is the name of a Wolverine. That is a Wolverine name because they look like fucking bears, like little bitty bears, which is like fair.
And they are ferocious too.
It's because his face and ears look like a bear that she called him Barry.
Bears are not even that far distantly related from weasels. It's like the closest relatives are pinnipeds, which are seals, and the sarts, and then weasels. So they're very weasel-like in that sense, and that's partially why that all of them had like these really powerful jaws. This evolved quite early on, like tens of millions of years ago. Blap.
I had a question.
I was about to say, while we don't have any other ops up here, I do want to spend some time answering your questions as well. Can you remind me, if you're okay with it? I understand some people are. Can you remind me of your name?
Who, me?
Yes.
No, the wall.
Ice cream. I'm not gonna put
ice cream. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Ice cream.
Ice cream balls. Ice cream balls.
You want me to say the whole thing?
I mean, I think it's pretty funny, you know. No,
okay.
but I did want to ask a question real quick. So,
yeah.
like, so what do you guys feel about like all right, not consent. Like, how the fuck do I ask this question? So basically, I go on a lot of panels, like trans panels, and they sit here and talk about
disclosure.
How, like,
sorry.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. I thought that might be it. So not to interrupt, but hopefully helped.
No, it definitely did. Yeah, disclosure when it comes to like on like first dates. So I do go on a lot of trans panels, and most of them are like trans women and stuff, like, which is whatever. But like they do go on like they go on these panels, and they're like, yeah, like I don't think I don't like sit here and tell them that I'm trans on like the first date. Me personally, I'm not going to sit here and fuck with somebody that's not okay with the person that I am in general because I'm trans, right? So like I would sit here, like me personally, every time I go on these panels, I'll be like, I'll sit here and tell them way before we even sit here and meet each other in person, kind of thing. But a lot of trans women are like, no, I don't owe them that. Like, I don't owe nobody, like, you know, any of that shit. And I do understand where they're coming from, but like that's not me personally. But I just wanted to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so I think I'm the only other trans person up here, so it'll just kind of be us talking about this mostly. I mean, other people can share their thoughts, but yeah. So as far as disclosure goes, especially for people, it's a unique position to be in to pass, but not only pass, to be have both top and bottom surgery and be on hormones consistently. And if that is the case, if both of those things are the case, I don't think anyone needs to tell anyone, because you're meeting your genital preference. Obviously, if you get to that point where you're like in bed with somebody, you've met every other preference that they have. So I don't see why those people would need to disclose. I kind of agree with Destina is what I'm trying to say. It is a need to know basis, and that's the part of it that I agree with, because like if you're going on a first date and you just want the person to get, and this is personal, right? So like you don't prefer to date this way. Other trans people may prefer to date this way. So if they prefer, like they're not expecting to have sex until at least the third date, right? That's just an example. They don't need to tell that person that until it becomes relevant. So maybe they're kissing and whatever, and it's getting to that point, and I think you should say something a little sooner than that point, just so that they're prepared, personally. But especially like if you're not going to meet a general preference or something like that, like they need to know that. Absolutely, that is a big part of fully informed consent. So them agreeing to what they're getting into before they get into it is important, obviously. But outside of that, they don't need to say anything, I don't think. Like, it's only when it becomes relevant that they would need to say something. Yeah, and sometimes it helps to get to know a person before you know, like, just have someone get to know you as some dude, you know, like, and not have that potentially unconscious bias in the back of their head the whole time, or worry like, what if I don't know enough, what if I say something wrong, something like that. And
Right,
so we
exactly.
just kind of relieve that by not saying anything for the first however long until we need to say more, if that makes sense.
Hold on, man. Give me 1 second. I'm so sorry.
You're good.
Unacceptable.
But yeah, in a way, I agree with those trans women that are saying, I don't owe you disclosure, because you don't. You really don't. And I assume those people are on hormones and have had top and bottom surgery, and or are disclosing when it becomes relevant in a relationship. But yeah, I agree with them.
I also
But
think
also,
that people just don't
sorry, go
have a
ahead.
right to know what the fuck's in your pants.
Right?
Like, from the
Unless
get-go,
you're
like,
in
we
bed
can just...
together. Exactly.
Well, even then, like, they could... I mean, well, I think it is good just to disclose, but, like, at that point, but, like... It's just... It's just something that, like, people... I think that knowing personal things about you is something that only comes when you're in a relationship. Nobody has a right to know what's in your pants, what you do in your personal time, and that kind of stuff. It is...
No. Stoke, just on the first date, you have to go, I have balls.
I've got the testicles, and if you don't like it, get the fuck out. No.
I love how the like deeper voice that Keaton can do is still just like contrasting to Sahad's, because her voice is just naturally at that place. And I know if she was trying to get deep like she just did for a second, which I heard,
Oh yeah, no,
it would be way below what any of us
Yeah,
can
no,
achieve.
you know
which
what's
I
worse
love.
is that what's worse, Cole, is that I actively up pitch my voice when talking to people so I don't sound monotonous like this.
Well, you also
See-
are like just taller, and that's just something that comes with like larger throat windpipe bullshit. So that makes sense.
Whoa, why are you talking about my throat size?
Because it deals with how sound works. Duh. You know that.
I know.
The only person on the panel that can say that and it be that funny, for you to say that to him, I love that so much. So I mean, there's been exploration potentially, but I wouldn't know. But Stoat is the straightest, straightest boy.
Stoat has left camera.
Hello, I'm so sorry. I was listening to everybody, but I'm at work and I can only I'm like not like out to everybody at my job, so I don't want them. I didn't want to like respond, and I'm getting like harassed by like 14 people. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. And if there's
I have a headphone and like nobody can hear me, but if I respond, it's just like, you know what I'm saying. So I didn't want to. And I'm like, there's about like I work with people that basically like just aren't like all there in the head, and one of them was basically having a behavior essentially, and it was a shit show. So, but yeah.
Did you guys hear that? The doo-doo-doo.
I'm sorry, what?
Do you guys hear this? Hold on, let me try this. You guys hear that?
No, we do not. We do not hear
Great.
the Windows sound.
Oh, do you hear it very loud?
No, we do not hear the Windows sound.
No, I don't hear anything at all. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's good, because I turned that off because I was just like, I don't know why I have my notifications like sounds playing through to TikTok.
I
Yeah,
mean,
no,
sorry.
I was going to say, can I just direct people to the comments of Mr. Iconic saying I almost choked, and they just went, well, according to Stoat, my throat's bigger, so I guess I won't choke.
Oh my god!
You so sure about that? No.
Samantha can really bring her ass up here. Samantha, I want to talk to you, Samantha, because Samantha just pissed me off.
It's a thought learned. So yes, it's an illness. Oh god, not
No,
GI.
she said it's a choice and it's taught, not a thought. It's taught.
Oh, taught. Yeah,
It's
Yeah,
learned,
yeah,
basically. It's basically
they said-
learned.
they said it's not
being trans is being it's like learned. It's by.
Oh yeah, they said it's not contagion, but it's
Yeah.
definitely mental illness. I said sort, and they just went, it's a choice and it's taught and learned. So yes,
So
it's
is
an
hate.
illness.
So is the same way that she's sitting here saying
Wait.
that being trans is not correct. The same way that you're sitting here telling trans people that it's not correct. The same shit that you're saying that it's taught. Your hate is taught. Your hate regarding trans people is taught. So let's hear her talk about it, Samantha. You can bring your ass up here because I really would love to argue with you. If you.
Anyone want to invite her if we can?
I don't know how to do that. Anybody else can do that, but
It would be
I don't know how
mods
to
and
do that.
host that
They
could.
did
but yeah.
send an
okay.
invite.
Yeah, I'm not either one, but
I already did it. Too late. Let's go. It worked.
Oh, why is this not? 20,
yeah, Samantha needs to bring her ass up here real quick.
Wait. I literally clicked to invite thingy that this is not the same person that I invited. Hello?
No, it's fine. You can kick me. I've actually
Hi, June.
accidentally accepted. But hello.
I quite
What's
literally
up?
clicked Samantha, so apparently I invited the wrong person despite the fact that it said to invite Samantha. Oh well.
No,
Well,
I'm
hi,
familiar.
June.
You can.
How you doing?
Hello. I'm great. I am not. There's very few characters that it will accept. You know, it's a very short responses allowed. So I know that my response wasn't the most articulate that it could have been, and I apologize for that.
So what is your thoughts on the prompts?
There is nothing wrong with being transgender. I don't feel it's a social contagion at all. But I do feel that there is a level of mental illness that comes along with it, with the body dysmorphia.
It's
I
not
think that
body
there is a
dysmorphia, it's
neurological.
gender dysphoria.
Yeah, it's gender dysphoria. Body dysmorphia and gender dysphoria are completely different things, and I'm not trying to we're not trying to attack you
No,
at all.
you're right. You're right.
Just
I did misspeak. Absolutely.
yeah,
I
just
apologize.
try to educate. That's all. That's all. I'm not trying to attack you at all. But it's not gender dysmorphia. It's gender dysphoria, and I think a lot
Yes.
of people get
Yes. No,
body
I did. I got the
dysmorphia and
terminology.
right.
I'm so
Okay.
sorry. I have to.
No, you're good. You're good.
Thanks for coming up and listening for a second.
Why is that every single time we get opposition, there seems to be like 2 or 3 that get a phone call?
Phone
on
calls,
panel?
right? It's always the damn phone calls.
I know. Always the phone calls.
I'm crying.
Oh,
Nah, she seems like a
that's-
sweetheart, though. I'm not gonna lie. She seems really sweet. I like June. June seems like good people's.
Before we get rid of that, block that person. That's a block and a mute,
What
obviously.
the fuck do you want? What do you want,
What is
bro?
that name?
You know what's baffling to me? That these people can sit here and have shit like that on their fucking profile, let alone their goddamn username, and they don't get flagged for that shit. But if you sit here and call somebody transphobic, you can't even fucking post that shit. Or you sit here and call somebody asinine on fucking Instagram, or transphobic or homophobic on Instagram, you get fucking flagged for it. You can't say shit. I was like, oh, you really should check your comment because, and they won't even let you post it. But there's other people that can sit here and say like the most homophobic, transphobic shit, or they hate fucking women or some fucking stupid shit. But they can sit here and say all that. But no, we can't sit here and say the most regular fucking thing ever. Like it's annoying. And it's just crazy, especially TikTok, because TikTok is one of the worst fucking places. I can't even sit here and say asinine on TikTok. I can't say asinine. But these people can sit here and say like the N word or like the F word or the C word, whether they sit here and like say it like differently. I'll sit here and try to say asinine differently, and I can't even fucking do that because they still flag me for it. It's fucking ridiculous.
Wild
Like
work.
they allow the hate. They allow hate, but they won't let you say asinine at all. Like asinine is not even a bad word. Like I can't even say fucking ignorant. I can't even say that.
Right? Okay, here's one thing. I am autistic.
See, yeah. See, I'm not the
Okay.
only one.
It's not just on TikTok though. Here's the thing.
No, it's not on TikTok. It's on Instagram. Facebook may be like the most
Yeah,
lenient,
no, but like, here's my thing, right? I'll say somebody is ignorant, and I don't get connotations a lot of the time due to like my autism and my grasp of like certain social things. Connotation is not something that I pick up on. So like, even if I'll say like you're still pretty ignorant on this, the people that I'm close to in my life had to learn that I'm not like attacking them basically.
Yeah,
and that I'm
people,
just
like,
saying
listen, I've
you have a
heard- like,
lot
me
more to learn
personally,
on a
bro.
certain topic. Sorry, go ahead.
No, like me personally, I do work with like your community, but like they're not people like you. You understand what I'm trying to say? Like I
They
don't
have
want to put my
different levels
business.
of autism or whatever else. Development
Exactly
disorders,
what
whatever.
I'm saying. So, and I don't want to put my business out there too much because I'm very opinionated and people do not like what I say. So I don't want to sit here and say a lot, but I do work with people like you, but they are just on a completely different spectrum. You know what I'm saying? And like,
No,
so I understand.
sorry, I do have to correct that because it could come across as misinformation. We're on the same spectrum. We fall on different places in each category that is that spectrum, but we are definitely still on the same spectrum.
No. Yeah, no, I do. I understand what you're saying. It's just like the levels to it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Is that still not like
well? Actually, medically, they use level 1, level 2, level 3. So
all right,
medically,
listen. I don't know.
Mary,
What's up? Like the people that like they are on the spectrum, right? But like they're different. Like some of them are verbal and some of them are nonverbal. Some of them are very and I work in this field, right? So like this is how they categorize them. So please don't drag me for this. But some of them are a lot more high functioning than others, right? Like
even
I'm not trying to be a dick.
Even medically, they're trying to get rid of that and talk about support needs instead. So higher support needs, even in the medical field, is what it has been in transition to over time. Because obviously it used to be high functioning, low functioning, and then we realized, oh shit, that's not actually what's going on in these people's heads necessarily.
That are, like, mid-grade, yeah, like it's yeah.
So
listen, that's what they taught me, like at my job, like at my workplace, like that's how they categorize them.
Sorry if you hear a lawnmower in the background.
Like,
they're mowing the lawn across the street from my house.
No, you're fine. I don't hear anything. But no, I wasn't trying to be like a dick toward you at all. Like I get it, but like that's how they like at my workplace. This is how they categorize certain types of, you know what I'm saying? Like that's how they categorize them. So it's like
I would just
high functioning, low functioning, or like mid. Essentially.
I would say
and it's
when you're not functioning within that workplace that uses that language, you should at least try to shift to high support needs versus lower support needs. In your language,
I think it depends on like the agencies that people work at, because there's so many around like where I live. And like certain places have different like categorizations, I guess, with like people like that. But if that makes sense, like I don't know how to like, because I really don't want to like sit here like, dude, like we can really sit here and chat for real about shit like that. I don't really put like my whole shit out there, but like because I really said a lot. and I don't want niggas to say people to sit here and I'm sorry, but I don't really want people to sit here and like like clock me and shit for that. But you know what I'm saying. But like, no, I was not trying to like offend anybody or anything, and especially you. I get it. But yeah, I think, but the people that I do work for, they're nowhere near like you, if that makes sense. Like,
They have higher support needs than I do.
right, exactly, yes, exactly.
I actually,
June, are you back, June?
Yep,
I
Yeah,
June is
am.
back. Yippee.
yeah, cool. I'm sorry.
Yippee! Oh, my voice.
Aw.
Destroy Snowman.
Oh, that's adorable.
So what's up, June?
That's a Wolverine.
But
So.
hello. Sorry, I'm a little shy. Honestly, I have videos on my account, but it takes me forever to film them because I have pretty high anxiety. But I think going back to it, I don't think there's anything wrong with being transgender. I don't think it is definitely not a social contagion. But I do feel that there was the level of mental illness to it with the, I'm probably going to say it wrong again, and I'm so sorry, but gender dysphoria?
Yeah, you got it correct. Yeah,
That's
yes,
right.
yes.
Yippee.
Okay.
Round of
Great
applause. Boom,
No,
boom, boom.
it is really confusing
No,
because
it is.
there's
It is.
there's
Yeah.
gender dysphoria, body dysmorphia, gender identity disorder. There's gender incongruence. There's a lot of different words, and they're not really easy to pick up on because they're very similar sounding. And some of them are kind of misnomers at the same time because they can talk about things other than just like gender. It could be related to your sexuality or your like physical sexuality, like your body, and it's just a mess sometimes. One of the few areas where I'm just like, yeah, this is a mess. Can we please like not do it this way? Like, can we?
To me, yeah, it can get very convoluted. To me, I feel like there's a level of I feel like we assign gender to so many things in society where I once came across an individual who was like, well, sometimes I feel like a boy because I use tools and I dress in this way, and then sometimes I feel like I'm more of a woman because I dress in this way and want to do these things. And I'm like, I don't think I'm not transgender, but I don't think that I am more masculine on the days that I built my fence around my house or put up drywall.
We just want to flip the way that you describe it. So rather than I dress and act this way so I feel more masculine on those days, you would say that, or a trans person would feel and say and resonate with, I feel more masculine on these days, therefore I wear these clothes and do these things. And there are people who are gender fluid, who are within the non-binary community, who are gender fluid.
Which is, to me, I feel like we don't need to assign gender to things. I think that assigning gender to things limits both women and men from
gender abolitionist isn't bad either.
Yeah.
We don't need to say this is a female thing to do, this is a male thing to do, this is a woman thing to do, this is a man thing to do. We can just say
Women's
these are
clothes,
things that people
men's
enjoy,
clothes.
that humans
Exactly.
enjoy.
These are just clothes.
Yes, they're just clothes. Like I worked as a customer service representative for years, and I came across a lovely individual who was like, I love to wear. He said that was his pronouns. He said, I love to wear my cute little dresses, and I'm like, I love that for you so much. And but he's like, but I want to get married to a woman. I am straight, but I love this way of dressing. I'm like, David Bowie wore the frilliest of frillies and the makeup, and nobody was like questioning his masculinity. Women loved him.
Elton John, Freddie Mercury, to
Yeah,
name a couple
I would say
others.
Freddie Mercury was like he very much was masculine, but he was just also gay. So it's like these are these are more typical gay things, and I feel like
Yeah.
I don't want to say that they're monolithics, but like we can look out throughout history and see that the trans communities and the gay communities, the individuals inside them typically act in certain ways that are different from each other, but they're closer to each other, I think, than what we'd consider the rest of everybody else to some extent. But yeah, I reject that.
Right.
Like, we should be labeling things as boy things or girl things. Like, I think that's a really bad thing to do in a lot of ways, because it limits individuals. And I think it's really important to say that I wouldn't ever call somebody transgender. I don't think we should be labeling people's gender based off of the things that they do. It's more of how they feel internally that makes them who they
Yes.
are.
Yes. If
So-
you wake up every single day and you're looking in the mirror and you're just like, this is wrong. This is not who I am. Not just because you want to put on makeup or because you want to wear clothes that are different than what's assigned to you. I'm using air quotes right now. I keep forgetting I'm not, like, you can't see me, but if you're waking up and genuinely feeling like this is the wrong body, this is not right for me, you should get every bit of assistance and help that you need, everything that you need to help you feel the most comfortable in your everyday life. I want you to have absolutely everything that you need. Everything.
Miss June, may I just say, I just feel like you just seem like a sweetheart.
Oh, thank you.
No, but can I also ask you a question though?
Sure,
like,
yeah.
so do you care about like trans people being in the bathrooms with you at all?
Here's
you
my
think that,
here's my
like-
thoughts on that, because I am a woman and because I have been victimized by men. I feel that there are groups of men who
Mhm.
will say, "Well, I'm a woman," but they
And they're actually
are
not
not in
trans,
any
essentially.
way, shape, or form.
Transgender, yeah.
I
Sorry,
want
not
to
laughing
bring
at you
a
guys, laughing at something else. Sorry.
I
I-
want to bring a bigger problem to your attention. So let's say the legislation goes through and bathrooms are now identified as female and male, and you have to go into the one that was assigned to you at birth, right? If that happens, men, cisgender men, can just go into the women's bathroom and say, I'm a trans man. And they don't have to dress up. They don't have to act like a woman. They don't have to say they're a woman. They just say, I'm a trans man. This is the bathroom I have to use. That is a lot more dangerous, in my opinion,
I feel like it's
than
all dangerous. I feel like and let's face it, the world is not facing a lot of danger from actual trans men,
correct.
actual born female individuals who no longer identify as female, who are transitioning or in any process.
I wouldn't
any
say
part of
no
that process.
longer. Sorry to interject again. I wouldn't say no longer identifying as female. I would just say that identify as men as well.
I would say it depends on how they're defining female
Fair.
and what they see as male and female.
As well.
Yeah,
'Cause
there's some nuance to this
Yeah.
that I think is important to bring up, because like it could be like from my general what I would consider male and female. I think I more look at it from your genetics and like the lack or the presence of like the SRY gene or something like that. But that's not necessarily the way that everybody views sex. It could be a cluster concept, and under that variation or that view of gender or sex, always saying gender so much that sex never comes out. That like that's a valid way to say that they're no longer identify with being female or male.
Oh, you can definitely be intersexed, and it
Well, it's not even
is a huge
intersex.
gray area.
It is just like you can change aspects about your sexuality that to a point where if we're using a cluster concept of what sex is, like based off of your hormonal profile, your like the presence or lack of like gametes or gamete production and like bone structure and a lot of other things, these are things that are malleable to some extent, and we can shift somebody towards being more feminine or masculine or male or female, I would say.
Well, that's absolutely true. That is absolutely true. There can be genetic aspects that cause you to appear more quote unquote feminine or more masculine outside of just the general XX and XY. I think it's really important that we focus on the far more prevalent portion of the population. Because if we begin to say, yeah, but there's this outlier, yeah, but there's that outlier, absolutely, but we treat schizophrenia or I don't even want to say that because that's putting it in the realm of severe mental illness, and that's not where we're going.
We treat anxiety, we treat depression, we treat body
Yes.
dysmorphia,
We treat
even
autism.
we treat them with the medically researched, like successful treatment, the most successful treatment that we found, and that would be true no matter what the diagnosis is.
And I feel that there are always going to be outliers. And I think that we have to leave ourselves open to treat the outliers as well. But I think that we have to generally focus on the larger portion of the population, because if we don't, then it becomes nothing. There's no general treatment that we can provide. And
Exactly. Like, for example, I can't remember if it's hip replacements or knee replacements. One of them is like a 20% regret rate. The other is a 40% regret rate.
I
And
genuinely think it's like both of them, because every time somebody gets either one of them, they get fucked up afterward. They can't. It's even worse than what they got surgery for.
A lot of them
oftentimes,
have-
which is why, they have very high regret rates, I will say. What'd you say, Keaton?
Oh, I was just gonna say replacing like bone structures and stuff is just like, or especially
High
joints, is
regret
just
rate.
it's really hard to do in a way that like we don't start like mashing on nerves, which is just like I'm sure
Yeah.
it would feel great for you to
So,
have nerves just getting
with-
ground up.
With what you were saying and with my analogy, if it doesn't help that 20 to 40% of people, then why are we doing it? Like, that's their logic. Is like, if there are detransitioners, if it doesn't help people, then why are we doing it? Like, it's the thing that actually helps majority of people, and it is really genuinely helpful to, it seems, if our bodies and our finances and our environment allow for it. It seems that there's like an over 99% success rate here anyways. So I don't understand where people are coming from a lot of the time. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Do the treatment that works for most individuals who need the treatment. I do think that there should be a kind of like a buffer somewhere in between that helps individuals who are maybe kind of not sure, or maybe they think that they're sure, because
There is.
my daughter's 100% sure she doesn't want to go to school yesterday, right? But like,
that's just
a little different than identity, but
we
yeah.
talk about it, right? You're absolutely right. It is different, but there's also peer pressure where I want to belong, and do I need to do this thing in order to belong? So there should be therapy first, not to convert. Absolutely not. That's gross.
No. Yeah, we
But-
shouldn't be pushing
but
somebody
to-
one way
to
or another.
discuss.
That's
Exactly.
something that
but
I have
Right.
always been really firm about. Is we absolutely do not want to pressure somebody to go one way or the other. And that's part of the reason why that, like, I think that a lot of people misunderstand when we say that we want gender affirming care to be available. Is that it's not to force individuals to do something they don't want to be. People are individuals, but by forcing individuals, you're doing the exact opposite of what we would want for individuals. We want to give people choices, not take them
Preach.
away. That's what we want at the
And-
end of the day. And by shutting down these options, we're just harming more people than helping.
Here's my question as well, June. Have you heard of the W path before?
Not in those. It's very likely that I have, but not in those terms.
Okay, so the W path stands for the World, don't tell me, World Professional Association for Transgender Health. Did I do it? Yes. Yay. Okay. So
Good
that's what
job.
it stands for. And we just say WPATH so often to shorten it, obviously, that sometimes even I forget what it is, or what exactly it's saying. But anyways, that's a group of people that set these guidelines and standards for a transition that is going to help and not hurt ultimately. And a lot of those guidelines include, especially for minors, I believe it's a minimum of 2 years of therapy before they take any steps besides puberty blockers to medically transition somebody. And puberty blockers would only be assigned during that 2 years of therapy or before it's even started occasionally, because that is the only window in which it would help, first of all. And second of all, it won't harm the child at all if they take them and then stop them, because they go through something called gender exploration, and then they find out that they're cisgender anyway. So they'll resume their hormone profile, everything, and their puberty like normal as soon as they stop taking the puberty blockers. So it just allows time for that child to find out where they are on that spectrum, if they're trans or not, and what kind of care they would need if they are trans as well. And that can help a lot of people. So the WPATH does require that. So we agree with a lot of the WPATH. I don't agree with the people who wrote it. I do think that therapy should be involved for everybody. I do think that we should provide minors gender affirming care that gets into the medical side of things when therapy has been met and when there have been a lot of conversations with their family as well, to make sure that they're in an environment that they're not going to be basically bullied by the people they live with for being who they are, because that can lower success rates and cause people to detransition as well. There are a ton of factors that go into making sure a kid is safe to medically transition. Obviously, you've got like blood tests and stuff as well that they do to make sure that it's not going to be unhealthy for that kid. And you'll find very high success rates and with medical transition at that point with that child once they've been through all of that process. I do appreciate that part of things. There are other hoops that I don't think we should have to jump through that I don't like in the WPATH, but there is a lot of the WPATH that I do like, and that's why it's there, and I agree with a lot of it. So yeah, I just wanted to let you know what the WPATH is and what their guidelines are about.
I love that. Thank you so much for the information. I'm for certain going to look into that, because I just to kind of wrap my head around everything that is involved in that, because it sounds like a absolutely, like it sounds well structured.
Thorough, yes.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot more well structured than people think that it is, to be honest. I feel like you know, like, I don't know, me personally though, like Cole, I'm sorry, miss, I didn't mean to interrupt you. If you want to continue, you can do that. I'll shut the hell up. I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine. This is I gotta say, this is the most polite live that I think I have heard in such a long time.
And I'm
so glad to be a part of it.
We're not all assholes that everybody sits here and make us seem out to be. But Cole, it seems like do you Cole, do you live in the U.S.? Like, did you go through like Planned Parenthood to like an HRT or anything?
I'm very well established at a place that is very good at it. Cleveland Clinic. I feel fine saying that because I don't live within like a close radius. I do live somewhere in Ohio, but I have everything covered, dude, so I'm not worried. I actually just had a meeting last Saturday with a new doctor who is a member of the WPATH, and he's writing me my letter in another week. Once I see him one more time, he's going to send it off, and then we wait on the PA, and everything's free. Yep, I'm getting top surgery this year.
Congrats. I had top surgery. But you know what's crazy? Like, people sit here and like they say like, oh well, I went through this, and that, and like I don't know, bro. Like, I have a really weird like thing about like detransitioners, because like my thing is, it's like a lot of the detransitioners that I do see, they sit here and say the most asinine shit in the world about trans guys, and it's not fucking true, and it irritates my soul and existence. You have no idea. And like me personally, like, I hold on before, because I feel like I'm about to get dragged real quick, but like hold on, before I say anything, like I did my due diligence so fucking hard. When I tell you, I sat here and researched everything that I could possibly, trans women, trans guys, all that. I did everything. So when I did go to Planned Parenthood and I did go through, like, honestly, I didn't really have to go through much. I really didn't. But I think the only reason why I didn't have to sit here and go through extensive therapy and shit is because, like, I did my due diligence and I knew this was something that I wanted to do. Like, you know what I'm saying? If that makes sense.
Yeah,
Like,
we know walking
like
into it a lot of times. Yeah.
yeah, like, but a lot of people, like, they're like, oh yeah, I can see him and do all. I'm sorry, I'm driving, guys, and I'm smoking a cigarette, so I'm sorry if my background is really loud. I really
Oh
apologize.
no, I love you, but you can't be driving on live either. That's
Oh, I'm not
dangerous.
driving. I'm in a passenger. I'm in an Uber.
Oh,
I'm
you're
in an
in you're in
Uber.
an
I'm in
Uber.
an
Okay,
Uber.
cool, cool, cool.
I'm in an Uber, and I'm just smoking a cigarette. I'm sorry. So that's my B. I'm in an Uber though. But yeah, but my point is though, like, like yeah, like
Surely.
I didn't, like, a lot of people sit here and be like, oh, like, they never got like their, like, they never were taught about, like, what it comes with being a trans guy, or like atrophy, and like nobody knows what atrophy is, and stuff like that. And it's like, how do you, like, well, how do you want to be on hormones and, like, you don't even know what the fuck it's gonna do to your body? And then, like, I don't know, like, it's just weird to me. Like, I don't know, like, basically my point was though, like, did you ever go through that? Like, did you have to sit here and, like, do the most, or that, like, I never had to, like, because I think that, like, because I did my due diligence, so and I knew, like, I was cutting the woman off, like, when that was telling me everything about, like, gender dysphoria, and I'm like, I know about all this, like, I know everything that's gonna happen to me. I know atrophy is going to be a thing. It may, or not going to be, but it may be a thing. Um, depending on whatever, like, it depends on the person's body, in my opinion. But, like, it's stuff like that. It's basically my point. Like, did you ever have to go through any of that, or no?
Like having to prove to therapists and stuff. Yeah, I mean, there were a couple of letters that I got before this from therapists for surgery, because I started the process of trying to get it and thought I could get it back in like 2021 or 2022. And the government / state was like, we're not going to fund this anymore. And I'm on Medicaid. So I didn't have a choice, because I can't make that kind of money either. But
yeah, I feel like it's because, like, the state that you live in, which is really fucking annoying, to be honest.
yeah,
Like, not your fault. Yeah,
now
I
I
get it.
have
I'm sorry for that. Like, for you, like, that sucks. But at least you're, like, on, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so now I'm on my mom's insurance primary, and I've already met the max out of pocket, so they're gonna cover the entire thing for us, including travel costs,
Woo!
as long as we give them receipts, which is crazy coverage. That
That's great.
coverage is wild. Anyways, so yeah,
You ready
I
to
should be
hear
getting
Kieran?
it sometime between August and October, but with this current dude, because he's a member of the W Path, I don't have to explain shit, and he also knows that I have special interest in sex and gender, so he knows he doesn't have to explain shit, and we talked for a little bit, and then he got some information for me from my letter, and he's just going to see me one more time to get the rest of the information, which isn't much, and then he's going to submit it for me, because, again, like, being a member of the W Path, you probably don't, like, and if somebody telling you, hey, I have a special interest in sex and gender, he's going to assume I know what I'm talking about, hopefully, and he has so far in this situation. So luckily, right now, I'm not dealing with that, but in the past, I just kind of had to explain to my therapist. But when I was getting care, I was like, I already know about all of this as well. So, like, as far as medical care goes, and they at least at Cleveland Clinic, they've been awesome. I've gotten all of my like HRT and my surgery, soon to be surgery, through the Cleveland Clinic, and they are absolutely awesome. They never like doubt my knowledge, or I never have to like prove to them who I am or anything like that anymore. Or
I'm actually, like,
yeah,
really
so
happy for you when it comes to that, because I know the state that you live in, and I know that they're not with all that shit, to be honest. So, like,
yep.
I really, like, I'm really happy for you. Like, congrats to you, dude. Like, seriously, because I know that, like, this motherfucker just Motherfucker, just I'm sorry, not you guys. I'm sorry. Anyways, I'm sorry. I'm just bitching about parking. I'm about to be home, so I have to get off soon. But I just wanted to say, like, I'm really happy that you're getting like what you need to, just because of the state you live in. Because I live in a different state that has nothing to do with like they don't care about as they don't care as much as they do for like other states. You know what I'm saying? So like, I'm happy that you guys. I mean, not you guys, but like you per se are like you're getting what you need. So like, congrats to you, man. Like seriously. I do have to go though. So if you guys hit me up, I could like I want to follow like the both of you on like Instagram or something. Um, especially like Cole and like the mod, like you guys can follow me and whatnot. But I'm gonna get off so somebody else can get on. And much love to you guys. Be safe, seriously, and yeah, just have a great day.
Thanks for coming up and thanks for congratulating me. I'm very excited.
No, seriously, congrats on your top surgery. If you ever need any questions, because I did get top surgery. I've had top surgery for
I'll hit you up if I
a little
can see
while
for
now.
sure.
And yeah, if you ever have any questions, seriously, like I could definitely tell you what you're gonna experience and what you're gonna have to go through, and stuff like that. I have no problem like telling you what's gonna happen, depending on what type of surgery you get. Because like I had a double mastectomy, but I never had to get like I never had to get the tubes and stuff. Like I didn't have to do that. But I'm also like
You are
I'm in
so
the
lucky.
so you have to get see like I didn't have a big chest, but like. But I see people that have really small chests and like I don't see why they have to get fucking tubes. I never had to get tubes at all, like at all. And I had a pretty decent size, like not decent, but like I would say like C or something. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't I never they told me that I didn't have to get like you know the tubes and stuff. So I never had to deal with the drains or anything like that. But like yeah, so I could tell you like a lot of stuff as to what you have to do regarding that and what they're gonna have you do and the shit you have to buy for that depending on like where you are. Like I don't know how different states work, but for where I'm at, like I could sit here and tell you stuff, but like yeah, I can if you DM me on TikTok, I'll give you my Instagram and you could just hit me up on Instagram about any questions you have about regarding any of that stuff. So
Okay, I actually don't have Instagram, but we'll figure something out.
yeah, whatever you want, it doesn't matter. But yeah, if you don't want to, it's cool, man. It doesn't matter. But anyways, I gotta go though. So much love to y'all. Like I said, but be safe, y'all.
Yeah, you have a good one. And again, it's not that I don't want to, it's just that I don't have Instagram.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good. You can hit me up on here too. If you want to hit me up on here, I could hit you back up and whatnot. But if you have questions about anything, because you're gonna have to go through a lot, and I think people think it's a lot more invasive than it's a lot more invasive than people think it is.
Yeah.
But depending, so that you know what I'm saying, like so that's like my own thing. But yeah.
Yeah, Insta does suck since Meta took over. I just don't generally, like, I don't have Facebook, I don't have Instagram, I just don't really have Meta stuff, so.
Yeah, good for you. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Hit me up on TikTok then. If you have any questions, seriously, like I'm not a dickhead. Like I'll really tell you everything that you have to go through and everything they're going to have you go through stuff like that. So I got you.
Yep. All right.
That's
Thanks.
If you want, though. All right. Have a good one, guys.
Yep. You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi,
Have we
hey.
entered?
No, we
Yeah.
haven't introduced you. Hi, hey. Can I get your age and pronouns, please?
Say that again, sorry?
Can I get your age and pronouns, please?
18, he, him.
Do you disagree with the prompt?
Part of it.
What do you disagree with?
It is not a mental illness.
Yeah, so being transgender is not listed as like having gender diverse ideas, gender nonconforming behaviors, and believing that you're a different gender than you're assigned at birth is nowhere in the DSM-5 or I guess ICD-11. It's a little bit different, but yeah, it's not in the DSM-5, so it's not like a mental illness under that qualification. There's nothing wrong with it.
Before I say anything, I just want to start by saying I don't have my opinions. I'm just here to speak facts. I have the DSM-5 open to the gender dysphoria.
That's not just being.
Not all trans people have gender dysphoria.
It's as simple as that.
Okay. I honestly wasn't aware of that. Thank you guys. Sorry about this.
Oh, good. Yeah, no, in the sense that like, and when we're talking about gender dysphoria, the important thing to remember is that it's not the incongruence is the problem. It's the distress that is the problem, and that is seen as like something that is quote unquote wrong. It's something that it is something that like it's the distress, it's the causing the impact on people's lives that's problematic. The same with like things like autism. It's like autism isn't like wrong in any way. It's simply the impact on people's lives and it making their lives harder to live that could be seen as problematic, and that's the reason why people who have autism sometimes need special helps with things like myself for things like organization. It's because it makes an impact in our lives. If it didn't impact our lives in any way, that wouldn't be considered as a problem. So.
Also, I didn't mean to just like yell off the bat. I'm
Yeah.
kind of far away from my speaker and I didn't know how well y'all could hear me. And also, like, I didn't want you to continue with that explanation when my like few words would mean that like we agree that gender dysphoria is in the DSM-5, but the fact that not all trans people have gender dysphoria, yeah, so we know it's in there. But yeah, sorry about that again.
No worries. I just ask, how can you separate the trans people who do not have it versus those who do? Is my question.
Simple. Look at the diagnostic criteria. Or for gender dysphoria, who are transgender.
Like, how can you distinguish somebody who is trans and has it versus somebody who's trans and doesn't? Because the criteria isn't the most specific towards.
Yeah, so generally it would probably be through, I would assume it's like many other things where they have checklists and tests. So like when I was getting treated or tested for autism, they took me through a bunch of questionnaires. Same things go for like things such as depression and that kind of stuff. It's a lot of based off of like, we understand that we have a collection of people that we know have autism, depression, or gender dysphoria. We ask them a bunch of questions about their life and we kind of compare them against like what we would see as typical results. And then we can create questionnaires that pick out these results and say, hey, are we, do you have, like, does your body make you feel uncomfortable in XYZ way? And based off of those, you can draw conclusions about, relatively if somebody has an issue within their life that should be addressed.
Yeah, they're just testing for I don't know why people keep dropping. But anyways, they're testing for the distress. And if you have the distress, then you are a trans person with gender dysphoria. If the distress is based on the incongruence between your sex and gender. But if you are not having a distress based on that and you're trans, then there's your differentiation. Like, you're just... There's an incongruence between sex and gender.
How do we know
and you don't have distress based off of it? That's all.
It's how do we know somebody's depressed or not? We run through checklists, we run through questionnaires. It's the same thing for diagnosing anything else pretty much. It's looking at these things. With physical issues, we can actually look at the body and stuff, but due to the fact that we can't like investigate people's minds in any way that's like objective and be able to tell them about things, a lot of the times there's not much we can do. I guess with some things like some things like autism, they have like there's some neurological differences in structures, but like that's really hard to do without like, I don't even think a CT scan can pick up on that easily. Like you would have to like dissect somebody's brain, which is just it's a bit too intrusive for a lot of people. Hi, welcome back, Snake. Giddy.
Hi.
That is a fat freaking or floofy kitty.
I was about to say more
I'm going to
floof.
pull up a couple different pictures of this same cat, by the way. This cat is so photogenic for no reason.
Don't tell me. Hang on. Wait, I'm gonna go on mute, but don't tell me this cat's name.
Oh, I know you know Cole. What can you remember?
Does it start with a Q?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, I'm on the right track. It's like Quintine or something like that.
Quentin.
Quentin! Yes! Woo!
Unlike me, I'm not photogenic. Are you photosynthetic though? I can't. I can't keep a straight face and ask if there's somebody who's.
Look at this though, right? And now I'm gonna pull up another picture.
Meow. No, I'm allergic to the sun.
Oh my god, I love that one.
You cannot tell me that he's not so fucking photogenic.
He could be a CEO. He looks like the boss of a company in that picture in the best way.
Oh, still, apparently you're Polish.
I'm Polish. There is part of me that's Polish, but it's a small percentage compared to the rest of my.
I thought you said there's a part of you that's Polish, like your arm was Polish or something.
No, part of my ancestry is Polish. I'm mostly German, from my understanding, with some Swedish, Polish. There's a few other things, but that's just based off of hard genetics, or not genetics. It's that's based off of our looking into ancestry.
I bet you still would think my throat is Mongolian because it's deep.
Oh my god!
Solid asked me to what did you say again? Can I please clip the throat thing for me, by the way? And I said that's what she said.
Yeah, I could have worded that. I could have
just
worded
like,
that
oh
better,
god.
I could have worded that better, but it was like I just wasn't thinking because I'm tired. And
it was iconic.
I realized how bad it sounded as soon as you said that. I was like, motherfucker.
Yeah.
I just thought the speed of me actually answering that was kind of insane.
Yeah. It was quite silly. Yeah. I'm glad that we didn't have just complete idiots today.
Oh, yeah, no, that's a very, very good.
Yeah, we had good conversations that weren't just.
Oh, no, I don't think you understand how the last, 3 days has been. When I've been on Midnight's Live, at least. Not this morning, yesterday morning, right?
Why am I not following them?
Someone was talking, pro-life versus pro-choice. And obviously, Midnight in that saying, well, it's the viability for it to be a lethal abortion would be when it stopped roughly 24 weeks. And they went, yeah, but it might vary from person to person. And then they were saying that quite literally it sounded like Schrodinger's abortion because they said, I said that because they went, what if you're on a cruise ship and they don't have a NICU and they can't determine whether the baby is viable, but it's around 37. No, but listen, but it's around 37 weeks, so it'd be premature. So if the baby was born, it wouldn't be able to survive without a NICU. But they might have Dridoxon, which is something that can be used in abortions and stuff. Do you abort it or do you not abort it if you can't tell the viability of the baby outside of the womb? And it's like, motherfucker, you can't tell if it's no matter what, it's so improbable that it's literally impossible. Because no cruise ship would have the correct medication, the correct dosing, the correct medium of usage. On top of that, no matter what, it was a loaded question. Because if you go abort it, they'd go, yeah, but what then if it had the viability to live? But if you go, don't abort it then, it didn't have the viability to live and you're forcing the mother to go through pain for that, and so clearly you're pro-life. It was a loaded question of Schrodinger's abortion. You can't make a morally correct decision based on the prior stated morals without knowing the outcome first, which is physically impossible.
Yeah, it's this is the reason why I like Alan Gowerth's arguments for I agree with him with a lot of things, but because a lot of the stuff that he wrote was written in the 60s, our understanding about human development and the human brain has superseded a lot of what he was writing about, and that it's like a lot of the times we would consider somebody who's like 24 weeks, they have like they're partially agents, so like we're unsure about if they're completely agents or not, so in that case that we just grant the rights to individuals based off of that. But a lot of his stuff is just like human life in general. He said that since we're unsure, because this was written in the 60s, they would grant the position to them. And I actually would agree with him there that in the past when we didn't understand brain development, that was probably the more morally correct thing to do to some extent.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So it was really funny though, because they basically gave an impossible thing. Because no offense, sure, it might also be a heart medication, but you're not going to have it in the correct dosage and the correct medium. But not only that, you're saying that it's going to be premature birth. You can't tell it's a premature birth up until the point of labour starting to be induced, of which you can't just abort a baby mid-labour, because that would just be a forced miscarriage at that point.
What are you saying, that the head pops out and you can't just chop it off?
The only abortion that is
No way.
able
Oh
to
my
happen
God.
during that, the only abortion that can be done during that would be a fucking C-section.
Yeah, it'd be like cutting out,
Yep.
and yeah, it's just
But if
that
they don't have a
sounds-
NICU and that, and they don't have the tools for, if they don't have a NICU and stuff, they wouldn't have the tools and the training.
Yeah, they need a surgical theater in order to do anything realistic regarding that. You need
Exactly,
some sort
that's
of
what I'm
surgical
saying.
theater.
On a cruise ship where the medications are quite literally limited.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was the most bullshit, disingenuous stuff ever, and I called it Schrodinger's abortion, and he said, yeah, but stop dodging the question.
It's the same goes for airplanes too, is that there's a lot of stuff that like there's some things that they have, but there's a lot that they don't. The interesting thing is that I've heard doctors who are like people suspected of having heart attacks, you can at least with a like if somebody has an Apple Watch, you can get some EKG data. It's not very high quality, but I was listening to somebody on YouTube who's a doctor, and they've had quite the unfortunate set of times of having to like use their doctor skills to help save, to make determinations on what the plane should do. And they had a portable EKG, which is really crazy. There's this like portable one that you can get a 3-lead, and use some fancy math to get a 6-lead based off of that. And you can't like rule out heart attacks based off of that, but you can rule that they're having one, but you can't rule out that they didn't have one. But it would actually give like some information to say, hey, their heart is functioning regularly now, and that we can do that kind of stuff.
Well, yeah. But thing is, they were asking such an insane hypothetical. You're saying, no, but you make something improbable and impossible. And I went, no, it is so improbable with so many different factors that are so highly improbable that with the current climate of today and the current legalities of today, there is no way it would ever be possible. And they didn't understand that something can be both improbable and impossible at the same time.
Why would somebody be getting an abortion on a cruise ship? That's my question. Like, this is
That's
just such
what
a
I'm
silly.
saying.
Like, it's just outside the realm of what people would do. I would say it's impossible, actually, at that point. That's
what I said. It's both improbable and impossible, and they said no, it's not.
We could just bring it down to like the moral question of if it's morally fine to do, and I would say that yeah, it would be morally fine if it would be morally acceptable to do an abortion then. But like that, the rest of it's just like I don't care at that point. It's just a silly. It's just asking a moral question at that point. So.
Yeah.
It does sound like a funny conversation, though.
It was not fun, purely because he was just pedantic over every little thing. Now, don't get me wrong, I found some pedantism and things like that in semantics, but it was to a stupid fucking amount. Like, there was a point where it got tiring after hours.
I mean, we had a fucking Phil bro the day after who started the argument the very same saying based on a fetus's capability of life and things like that and capacity for to be able to get experience in the future. The capacity for experience, but yet when we question about stem cells and tumors and that, because obviously those two things are extremely comparable.
Yeah,
Considering the fact that they could not define what specifically separated a fetus from just being a living being because it had human DNA.
the crazy things is that you could theoretically take somebody who has XY chromosomes and take their cells and produce a new fertilized embryo, I think, from it. So it has the
Yeah, but
capacity
thing
to
is, I even
to
spoke
become
about
sentient
fucking
life.
I even spoke about IVF embryos and
Yeah.
stuff though.
Yeah, no, I
Which
just think it's much better to boil out of asking about like the. I always just step away from the probability of a future to look at this because I think that's just we de facto
yeah,
don't care
exactly.
about
I
it
was
that a lot
saying
of the
how it was
times. So
disingenuous and
yeah,
stuff and things like that.
I think
But
intuitively it's a something that you might intuitively come to a conclusion about. I just didn't think it's a great conclusion in the first place because of the ways that we just don't care about future when it comes to morals often. Like if something's going to be right or wrong, doesn't care about what the future holds as much.
exactly.
So
Although we had some Philbo who said like the time after who basically had the exact same fucking argument almost, but they didn't come up with the Schrodinger's abortion. But they Philbroed so hard trying to overcomplicate it with wording that I was kind of lost. But then when I questioned them on it, when I started to realize what they were saying, they confused themselves and stumbled for a solid like minute and a
God
half.
is my favorite thing when they confuse themselves. I love
Yeah,
it.
because he didn't understand his own wording when I asked a basic question using only one like complicated word in the sentence that he used. He started to struggle to answer it because he'd forgot what he had said because he'd overcomplicated it so much, and I basically forced him to unfilbro his entire argument.
yeah,
I
I
wish it
It
just
was
was
there.
so funny.
I think the moment that things get into like meta properties, I'm just like I don't give a shit about this philosophy anymore because meta is just like metaphysics and that kind of stuff is just like the field of philosophy often asks why we know things the way that we do, and I think it's very useful to ask certain things about like morals and that kind of stuff. Like, how do we actually know this is a case? But when we start asking how do we know about the way that we know things, it's just like what the fuck, guys? Can we just not? Like, it's important to know these things, but not in this conversation. We can just take it for granted because it's outside the scope of this conversation. So that's how I've been starting to deal with like people who get like I can be considered a philbro, but I don't think that I get into philosophy in a invalid way. I use philosophy to push the argument at its core because it is like when it comes down to abortion or the trans debate and stuff like that, it is essentially a moral question at the end of the day. There is no
Yeah, but see, you don't just like Philbo absolutely everything completely. Use philosophy in a valid way for logic.
And
Unlike
I'm willing
the
to
When
guy
it's
who
relevant,
the
yeah.
guy was purposely like adding shit into his word to overcomplicate
it's just
it,
called sea
which
lining.
you don't do.
It's
And on
just called
top
sea
of that,
lining at that point, and I just don't engage with sea
yeah,
lines.
you also weren't like him in the sense of he was consistently straw manning
Oh,
arguments
I
and then
hate that.
going, wait, but how is that a straw man? When I explicitly say one thing and he completely took it to mean something completely else that I never even said nor stipulated.
You know what my favorite response when people start strawmanning me? I just say, I didn't say that. I don't know about what you like having put in your mouth, but I don't like having words put in my mouth. I do not consent to this. But you can put words, you can have whatever shoved in your mouth all you want to forcibly. You know, consent is fine. As long as you consent to it, that's fine. But please don't, shove words in my mouth. And people crash the fuck out over it. It's hilarious because they're just like, bro. It's like, but it makes the point across that, like, you can't be shoving words into people's mouths. It's...
Yeah. Bear in mind, I was also playing DBD and being chased by a killer in DBD.
What is DBD?
On Midnight's Live, Unalive by Daylight.
Oh, Dead by Daylight. Yeah, that's a interesting game.
And thing is, I was being mid-chase whilst arguing a Philbo who's just adding words for adding words' sake. So it's getting harder and harder to keep track of what he's saying. And he got lost in his own argument
He hurt
before
himself in
my
his own
argument
confusion.
broke down whilst I was mid-chase. Bear in mind, obviously, chases require a lot of attention because I wasn't the one chasing, I was the one being chased. So I've got to outsmart the killer to not get down whilst trying to keep him away from Midnight doing generators. So pathing everything, dodging, knowing where the pallets were, on top of trying to fucking argue against this guy who was just trying to add random words into sentences just to, just fluff everything up essentially.
It hurt itself in its confusion. Moment.
Quite literally, which I think is funny, but also, like, how can you be doing that and constantly straw manning and then expect me to keep up with an argument and then go, like, he was trying to act like he was smarter than me because of it. And don't get me wrong, he might have been smarter than me, but it was more the fact that he was fucking acting cocky about it. And then when I called him out on his own bullshit, he stumbled over everything immediately.
I found Edna mode, by the way.
Oh my god, right. Midnight refuses to let Edna mode up on a panel just because of the shit he's done in the past.
Edna's just not good faith. That's what
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly why we
I would be happy to...
We don't give him the satisfaction of blocking. We just don't fucking,
I love that.
I don't want to
Just
somebody else wants
what
to
is it
engage.
called?
Yeah, I think that Edna is like I would be fine talking with Edna, but it would have to be in a manner that like they just can't ramble on about their shit because that's what they do. They have a set of talking points that they must talk to, otherwise their whole argument just gets fucking slammed.
I know.
I want to use they them pronouns because I'm not sure if a male identifying as a woman what they want to be because they're like disingenuous on it. So give them respect that we don't get.
Fair.
That and I've realized that Never Bow is just like the worst faith person. They just don't care what transgender people have to say.
Oh yeah, no, Never Bow to cock in a front. It's just they're just so stupid. I've never even seen them on a panel, but the shit they rant about in comments is like actually.
I just rage bait them at this point because they just crash the fuck out and it's hilarious. And then they run away because they're like, I can't deal with this dude. It's like, wah wah wah. If you're running from an argument because you can get so easily triggered, it's like, oh well, like this is like your problem. Like, I understand like that I'm not being the most ingenuous person when I do that kind of stuff, but like, if you can't stay cool in a debate, that's kind of a problem. You look like a ridiculous person.
Yeah, more than kind of.
It's more of like using rhetoric instead of actual like debate. So
yeah. Speaking of that Philbo yesterday as well, the reason I also getting more confused was I keep being thrown off my track because he would consistently interrupt when I was actually trying to break down part
interrupting
of his
cow. Boo. No.
Yeah, but quite literally would interrupt the middle of my thought process, and I'm obviously thinking and explaining it out loud how I'm thinking the argument for clarifying stuff, and they would just interrupt me, so I would lose everything I was thinking about and then go, oh shit. Which was getting more and more annoying, to be honest.
Who is this? Oh, yeah. This will actually be interesting. Hi, Jim.
You remember me?
Yeah. I was like,
Why did you duck the debate, man? Why did you duck the debate?
Oh, I just didn't see the... Yeah, I don't know.
Bro, I messaged you like a month ago. Come on, man.
Yeah, it was like a month ago. I had one thing and then it just went. Hi. Do you disagree with the prompt? I think you do.
Come on, man. What do you think? Of course I do.
Yeah, so you can choose whatever to talk about. I'm fine with talking about
No,
transgender.
do you wanna do like a opening argument and we can go from there?
I don't know. I would just hold that like with this, you know, under the DSM-5, it's not labeled that like being transgender itself is not labeled as a mental illness. And therefore, and just due to the fact of how the DSM-5 lays out mental illnesses, um, being transgender in itself is not the only problem. Would be the distress caused by the incongruence of somebody's identity, and that's treated affirmatively, and it's
Isn't there a sub definition? What is it called? I think it's called like gender dysphoria or something.
yeah, gender dysphoria is
It,
what
it
it's in the
starts
DSM-5.
out, so correct me if I'm wrong, but it starts out as gender dysphoria, then it turns into transgender, right?
No, not at all. Not all trans people have gender dysphoria.
So how do they
Trans
become
and cis
trans if
people
they
have
don't
gender
have that?
dysphoria
So
as well.
I think we need to understand how you define these things. So what do you think trans means?
It's a person that thinks they're something that they're not. It's a person that has a mental disorder that thinks that they are the opposite sex and they are not, or the
Okay,
opposite gender,
so
whatever word you want to use.
let
The
me explain
definition
to
has
you.
changed over the last century.
Let me explain to you the actual meaning of trans, right? And I'm also in the same breath going to explain what cisgender means, okay? So trans and cis, not associated with the gender, trans and cis, those are Latin prefixes that have existed for hundreds upon hundreds of years. Very, very long time. Don't know how old the language is, but cis means on the same side of, and trans means on the opposite side of.
Okay.
So when we
Can we
talk
cut to
about,
the
I'm
chase
gonna
instead of a
finish. I'm
history
gonna finish
lesson?
what I was saying. So when we talk about somebody who is cisgender, we are saying that their sex and their gender align. They're on the same side. When we say that somebody is transgender, we are saying that their gender does not align with the sex that they were assigned or observed to be at birth. There is an incongruence there. So just because the incongruence exists, that doesn't mean that the gender dysphoria will exist. It just makes a place that it could exist, because gender dysphoria is the distress caused by the incongruence between your sex and your gender. So
Okay.
you have to be trans in that way to have
Can
gender
I ask you a
dysphoria,
question?
but not all trans people have gender dysphoria. Yes, now you may.
Are you trans?
Maybe. I don't know. Am I?
I'm struggling to see the
You
relevance.
would know. It's not an attack. I thought we were having a conversation.
Well,
I don't disclose these things in these conversations because it's not
So then why are
relevant.
you debating about trans? Okay, whatever.
cisgender.
Okay,
Because maybe I am trans, but maybe I'm not. You don't know these things.
I'm
You
going
can
to
have
go
trans
off
friends,
of
honestly.
the conclusion that you probably are. So
I
what?
have
Host
trans
isn't.
friends.
Okay, so what led you to believe that you were trans? What led you to believe that you were the opposite gender?
Who
and
says
you
that I
decided to do that?
am? Who says that I
This
am
is going nowhere.
trans?
Okay,
Does it
so
really
we're
even
just
matter?
gonna go off of that. I don't
I don't
know
even think
where
it
you're
matters
going
why
with.
somebody thinks that they're this opposite gender. We understand that this is
No, my
it
thing
may not
is
be
like it
typical.
just doesn't make sense that like okay, so without the gender dysphoria, that means that you just wake up one day and you're just like, yeah, I guess I'll just be a girl.
No, I can
No,
tell you how
at some
things work.
point you feel if I've and the people that I've heard their stories, because I've looked at the opposite side, I feel like it would be wrong not to. If you're gonna form a opinion about anything in life, you should always look at the other side and see what they think. That's just my opinion. But I did. I've looked at the other side and I've looked at these people's stories that aren't weird about it like you are, that actually go out and tell their
Not
story.
wanting to disclose people's weird.
And when I did listen, don't interrupt me. I didn't interrupt you. And
This is
when I
not
got
your
on,
live, and if you're going to be disrespectful, we don't need to host you.
all right. Well, listen, Starsky, if I'm not going to be able to talk and just get muted, we can talk later, man. But what I was going to say is, before I was rudely interrupted,
The 99, I haven't heard one story of any of these people that are trans. Actually, one, he actually shared my name. He was a great guy, cool guy. And he had the same story as every single other trans person that I've seen say their story or have talked to. And they have always said they just didn't feel like they were the person or the gender that they were born as. They were like, look, I was born a boy, for example. I just never felt right. I always felt like I was a woman. I never felt like I was a boy, never felt like I fit in, blah, 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 whatever the reason. But that's, in the general sense, that's kind of what it went with all of them. So by definition, though, that's gender dysphoria. I don't
No, it's
understand
not.
what-
It doesn't mean they
No,
have
yeah.
distress. And we
That's
will interrupt
So
for
there's no
misinformation
distress
because
in
it's
that? There's
TikTok
no
terms of
distress in that?
service.
so
There's no
gender
distress in that.
dysphoria. So gender dysphoria is the clinically significant distress or impairment relating to strong, lasting incongruence between one's expressed gender and their assigned sex.
Yes, that how is that not
there
that though?
must
How
be
is that
clinical
not battling?
distress.
But the thing is like the people that I'm talking to about this, they're battling with this. Like this is something that's heavy on their heart because, it doesn't matter what I think or what you guys think. I think we can all agree, even today, there's still and hopefully always will be a stigma about it. I know you guys
Ew,
disagree.
no.
Holy
Wait,
shit!
about what
That's why we have
again?
different opinions. That's the
The
great thing about
fuck?
America.
Why the fuck
Well,
would you want
I
to?
think
What
what
on
you
earth?
think is fucked, but
You're
we have different.
transphobic fuck.
I'm not scared of trans people. So
Do you-
by
wait,
definition,
hold on.
That's
No,
not
no,
what
that's not.
transphobia means.
Cole, let me cook him real quick. Do you think that trans people don't exist, or that trans? You're
Hold
inherently
on.
saying that transgender people,
But
shouldn't
here's-
exist to some extent. You're saying that it's wrong to be
No,
transgender, or
no,
that
they
there should be
shouldn't. Like,
social pressure to be
here's
against
what I
being
think.
transgender.
I think they should be held up, actually, in fact. And I know people that are on my side of the fence won't agree with me when I say this, but I feel like those people need to be loved. They need to be nurtured and they need help, I don't
think you mean conversion therapy. Also, I have to run an errand. I'll be back in like 10 minutes. Bye,
Okay,
guys.
Bye, Cole.
Cole's trigger needs a safe space.
I'm not
but
gonna let you do.
what
say
I will
shit
say
about
is,
my co-host like that. They
She-
told me earlier that they needed to go run an errand too. So
okay. So what I'm saying is that God, dude, y'all have derailed me like 8 different times. It's insane. Well, we'll go to another point that I want to make. When you're born, let's say when you're born as a man, there are unexcusable or undeniable is a better word. There are undeniable characteristics between a man and a woman. We can sit here and talk about anecdotal evidence and we can talk about outliers all day long.
yeah,
That's stupid and scientifically that does not hold up.
sex
If
and
we
gender are
talk
different
about,
though.
hold on,
It's
if we
as
talk
simple as
about
that.
the general sense, if we talk about in generalities, like what the main thing is in life, in general, men are, they have, different characteristics than women do. The body makeup, and where I'm going to land with this, I want to hit on the brain. The brain for a man is different than the brain for a woman. Like for example, women experience more compassion. They have, that's why I think women are better caregivers when it comes to kids. They experience more compassion. They're better for emotional stuff like that in that sense. So when we're talking about brain chemistries being different, and like for example, a man's brain, we have more tests. Our body creates more tests. Cole, you just got triggered and left, and now you want to talk in the chat. If you feel that way, just join. You
Yeah.
don't have to do that.
So
So
hold
here's
on.
what I'll say.
This
When
is
the
just a
man,
derailed
when a man
point. This
has,
doesn't matter.
yeah,
None
let
of
me
this
finish.
matters.
When
Sex
a,
is
when a
different than
man,
gender.
when a man is full of tests, because men have testosterone. That's why
You mean males
when
have testosterone?
men
Most
have
of the time.
tests, males have
Males.
tests, whatever you want to say. Okay, is this what we're gonna do, Stosky?
Well, they are two different things. Gender and sex are separated. They're not identical, and you're using them.
Okay,
You're conflating them.
I'm not.
Well,
But
yeah. So do
when
you
you're
think
born,
that
okay, when you're born with a penis between your legs, I can't believe that we're doing this in
you're a male?
civilization now. Okay, cool. So
You're not necessarily a
obviously,
man, because this
that's
leads
what you
to
think. That's
absurdities.
what you think. That's what you
No,
think.
so do you think that
Okay,
people
but dude, let me finish. Oh my God, bro.
well, you're
So
kind of going on an
when you are
off-topic
like
point. It
that,
doesn't
when
matter
you're
any of
like that
this.
and you're full with test, I'm just gonna keep going even if you interrupt. So
Well,
when you're
yeah.
full like that and you're with test,
Mhm.
like for example, men that do bodybuilding and stuff like that, 9 times out of 10, what are they doing? Steroids. So like when you're doing testosterone and trenbolone and stuff like that, what does it do? It shuts down your testes. You no longer create testosterone. But when you do that, your body creates a lot of estrogen. You have to supplement that by taking estro pills. So, for example, your body, like for a man, if you don't do that, what will happen? You get adverse effects. You'll start getting gynecomastia, you'll start getting acne, you'll start getting these problems because why? Your body is not supposed to have that much estrogen. Your body freaks out because of all the synthetic tests you're doing and creates all this estrogen. Your body's not supposed to have all that estrogen because you're a male. You see what I'm saying?
Are you
So when
saying?
you're,
Hold on.
so,
I do want to get
all right,
correction. I
give
do
me
want to get
one more
clarification
minute. Give
here.
me one more minute and
Okay.
I'm done. So when we're talking about like for example, like men, if they decide that, or we'll do women. So like if a woman decides she wants to be a man and then she starts taking tests, her brain and her body is not supposed to have that much test. So when she's taking, first off, it's synthetic. When she's taking synthetic tests and she's taking it that much, it will, you can look this up, I'm sure you're at a computer, it will fuck with your brain chemistry. When
It's
you're doing
almost
that
as if
much, your body
medications
is
have
not
side
supposed to have
effects.
that. What?
Medications have side effects. We all know this. You're not telling me anything new I don't know already.
But it's not safe is what I'm saying. And that's why I'm saying these people need help. They need help more than they need a whole society and a community coddling them and telling them that what they're going through is okay.
Yeah,
and
you
to
are just
destroy
wrong
their
here,
body,
though.
therefore.
You
That's
are just
not
wrong
that's
here.
not cool. And if anything, that's detrimental to human civilization.
Yeah, so the number one predictor in depression and anxiety within transgender youth is family acceptance. If we accept individuals for who they are, their rates of depression and anxiety go down to their peers. Do you think that we should not accept individuals and cause people to have depression and anxiety?
In what way? Like I can accept that they exist. Like that's reality.
Yeah,
Like
do you
trans
accept
people
that
walking down the street.
gender? So, and I'm also just going to point out that gender and sex are two different things. Sex is the biological way that we're like the two different ways that we're constructed. You're either down the Wolfian or mammalian pathways. When it comes down to gender, these are the socially constructed ways that individuals, cultures, and societies see themselves along the continuums of masculinity and femininity. One of them is socially constructed. The other one comes naturally. Because of that, they're
Yes.
necessarily different. Without a society, gender does not exist. So if you're going to say that people are born males, that's not necessarily the case. Without a society enforcing these ideas beforehand, they're just born as a male or a female. There's no genders.
So okay, so things that happen even in the animal kingdom that are like these are just biologically enforced. It's not that like we're doing it just
Gender
on
isn't
purpose.
biology. Gender isn't
No,
biology.
I'm saying it. Okay, hold on. There's a disconnect here. I agree with you. You're right. Like we're both in agreement. So yes, it's not but what I'm saying is that it's nature. So like for the animal kingdom, there are roles within nature depending on what you are.
Yeah. So,
You see
but
what I'm
that
saying? And now to go off of what you say, I'm not saying that there's no such thing as trans people. They exist. I agree with you, and that's something that we can find a common ground on. We live in reality. There's trans. I mean, I live in a liberal city. They're walking around everywhere, unfortunately. So when to say that they don't exist is crazy. They definitely do. But to sit here and say we should start giving them a bunch of drugs and chemicals and things that have disclosed and shown that they alter your brain chemistry, that's not a good look and that's not a good idea.
So
and I feel like if
do
we're
you
gonna
agree?
do anything of the sort, there needs to be some fucking line here.
Do you agree that we should do what is clinically shown to reduce depression and anxiety?
How has
Yeah,
it
no,
been
that's
shown when
I can give you
and
sources if you'd like.
especially after they get the change, do they not have a rising suicide rate?
Yeah, so
I
we
mean that's kind of been the
understand.
thing, like
Yeah,
for y'all, right?
we understand that post gender affirming care, that the individuals still have high rates of depression, anxiety, and suicide ideation. That doesn't mean
Yeah,
that
so
family acceptance and acceptance within the culture isn't the leading cause of these things. The leading cause of detransition is external pressure. It's society not accepting them, family not accepting them, others not wanting to be around them. It's everything else except for them not being who they are.
and that made
The,
him commit
the,
suicide.
no. The ways. So it's. Do you agree that depression and suicidality are highly intertwined with each other?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. So what you're saying is that we shouldn't accept these individuals for who they're claiming to be, especially when gender is this social construct that's malleable. It's not set in stone and can change over time. Do you think
I
that we should
get,
adapt our
yeah, I get what
society
you're saying.
to accept individuals when there's no reasons? Like,
Mhm,
there's no reason why we shouldn't, essentially, when we
mhm,
know that the alternative causes immense amount of harm.
mhm. Yeah, and here, you got me there. I do think that it is a free
Oh,
country. You do what you want. But
well,
big
no,
but.
you don't do what you
But what
want
I
when it
will
causes
hold
people
on. But
harm.
what I will say is, you're saying that, oh well, it's everybody else's fault because they didn't accept them and now they kill
Well,
themselves.
that's what the statistics say. That's
Well,
not what I
here's what I'll
say.
say, and another reason why people don't like me on my side of the fence is I'm not straight. I'm bisexual. So the thing is people don't like me. My own family doesn't know about it. Some of them do, and there's a couple that do know and don't fuck with me anymore because I am. Am I going to go kill myself and stuff like that over it? No. And that's not been a problem in, most societies. You just get over it. It seems like it's a common trend for the transgender community. And I think the reason why is because there is something mentally not right and they need help.
You
And that's
think that,
okay.
hold on, you can think that all
There's
you
nothing
want, but
wrong
that
with
doesn't
that.
mean that there's any medical evidence to show that there's anything wrong. The only suggestion that there's anything wrong is that there's distress there. This is distress that causes the problems. If the distress goes away, people live normal lives.
The distress of what? They've been overrepresented within the media, overrepresented within culture and society now more than ever. When they're less than 1% of the population, you can't turn on a TV show without seeing somebody that's trans. A TV commercial, there's somebody trans. I don't understand this point you're making. Yeah, you say the
Yeah,
family, but
good.
society
Good.
itself is
Society
not
should
pushing them
accept
down.
this. We should
The
accept
society is
this.
not pushing them down. That is
Yeah.
that is such a straw
So,
man.
so you,
No,
do
it's
you
not.
reject the fact that there's still many families like yourself where your family doesn't accept you for who you are, and that might have an adverse effect on your mental health and the expectations of what happens in your life? It absolutely
It
does.
doesn't.
There's
It doesn't.
statistics after
No,
statistic that shows that there's economic,
no.
humanistic, and just lifelong burdens that this puts on individuals. And it blows my mind as somebody who's actually a part of you understand what it's like to be not accepted for who you are. You can't change the fact that you're bisexual. But people
That's
don't.
fine. But the thing is, if I know that, okay, I'm in that spot where I'm like, because yeah, I have depression, but I feel like most people go through at some point in their life, go through the ideology where they're like, man, what, I'm probably better off
It's
not here. So
you
when
mean
you have, hold on, when you have that ideation, it's better to go seek help. Like I keep saying, go seek help and a therapist, like what I did, instead of sitting here and saying that everybody needs to do this for me, or
that's not what
you
I'm
just
saying.
think that's not okay, and that's just
That's not what
stupid.
I'm saying. What I'm saying
That's
is
just
that when
not reality.
individuals are gender diverse, they should go talk to somebody who's informed upon this. And if you would look at things like the W path, it makes very clear that these are individualistic approaches, that we need to look at the individual and all the surrounding factors to come to a conclusion on what's best for this individual, and that the person should decide what happens to them. Do you think that individuals should have the right to decide what happens to them?
Yes, but it's to us. Okay,
Oh,
so
yes,
how well has it been good for the
But
individual?
what?
How well
But
has it been good for
what?
the
But
individuals
what?
that
It
have
ends there.
transitioned?
Your right
How
to.
no? How
If
well
you
has it
think
been
that
good?
individuals have
How
the right to
well
control
has
their
it been
body,
good for the
it ends
individuals
there.
that's
You have
transitioned?
no more say. If they have the right to
I
control what
just
happens
I
to
asked
them,
you a question.
your
You're not
rights stop
answering.
there. You're trying to say that we should do these things, but then you agree that people should have the right to decide what happens to them. It stops
Yeah,
there.
but that
The
doesn't
moment that
mean that
people
we
have the
have
right to
to
decide what
follow it.
happens to them,
That doesn't mean that I have to sit here and
I'm not
support
saying
it.
I'm not saying that you have to support it. What I'm saying is if you don't support it, it leads to worse outcomes, and I think that's morally reprehensible if you do not support it. Because there's clear evidence that shows that this is the case. I can provide you source after source after source that shows this. That it leads to $100,000 more in lifelong cost if you force them to go through things like conversion therapy.
Oh, I never said that.
Well, but you are trying to say that they need help. And that's the only alternative to affirmative therapy is conversion therapy. That is the only alternative.
Because there's a difference between being a part of the LGB than the T.
Yeah, I agree with
believe that. Because if we look, okay, and we'll go back to the animal kingdom, you can observe those three things in the animal kingdom. That is a thing that happens. It has been happening for centuries.
Wait,
the
hold
one
on.
thing that
Are
has
we
not
animals?
been happening for
Are
centuries
we animals?
is this.
Are we animals?
We are.
Yeah, so we're
are.
part of the animal kingdom. We observe trans
Okay,
within the
so
animal kingdom.
one group that has been too far gone,
Which
could
hold
call
on.
us the Icarus of the animal
This makes
kingdom.
sense, though.
We have flown way too close to the sun and done way too much. And also, you guys are a psyop and you don't even know it. Have you
We're a
taken a
psyop.
glance at the Epstein files?
Yeah,
you?
guess who's the
Have
victims in there? Transgender people are the victims, not the perpetrators.
Yeah, they are. You're correct. They're a big fucking part of it. And guess who was the biggest spearhead of that? Epstein. He literally went. There's emails I can send them to you where he said, you know what would be great? We should push the transgender thing because what's no better than a woman that happens to have a dick?
Do you agree with people who shoot up schools because they have transgender kids in them and who target transgender kids?
Most of the school shooters, what are they?
No, most of them are cisgender. Yeah, so most of them are cisgender, but you agree that you don't support people who do extreme things, agreed?
Per capita, though.
It's still not even that. It's cisgender.
Yes, it is.
Cisgender
Yes, it
individuals are
is.
still the...
Per capita, a trans is more likely to shoot up the school. Do you know what per capita means?
Yeah, I understand what individualistic rates are, you dumbass. I do understand this. I know you want to try to like...
So then why are you saying what I'm saying is wrong?
Yeah, let's give it a Google. Do transgender people
commit mass shootings?
Shoot up schools more than their peers? No data shows that transgender people commit school shootings or mass shootings at higher rates than their peers. Rates.
You didn't put... Hold on. I got you.
Factcheck.org, Gun Violence Archive, uses broader definition. The full answer is that no. There's been a few isolated cases, but yeah, no, GLAAD would do that. Sandy Hook promise they're 2 times more likely to be victims.
The guy that was in Sandy Hook, I don't think he was transgender.
No. But this is an organization from Sandy Hook. What I'm saying is that they show data that says that transgender individuals are 2 times more likely to be victim of gun violence than their cisgender peers. They're more likely to be assaulted and sexually assaulted than their peers. They face bullying at 43% higher rates. They are targeted more than they are the targets of things. And when we look at things like school shootings, even if there was a higher rate, even if there are higher rates, guess what? Correlation does not mean causation. You do understand that too, right? Even
I do. But
even if I grant the point that they could even have elevated rates, what ends up happening is that there could be a different causative factor. And one of the causative factors that we understand about school shooters is that they're fucking depressed. And they're not accepted for who they are. So maybe we could reduce the rate of gun violence by just accepting people who they fucking are.
Yeah, and giving them help. We should get them help. I don't understand why you guys are so mad about that when I say that.
What do you think is help?
Why is that such a
what
bad
do you
thing?
think the medical organization agrees with? It's not your side, it's my side. It's that we should be looking at this from an individual perspective, look at what the data says, and the long history of abusing transgender individuals and hurting them and causing harm. We should learn from our mistakes, not repeat them. If you don't want to do that, then you can get the fuck out of here.
So you don't think that any of the rise in the transgender community has anything to do with the brainwashing of media, the stuff that you're seeing, them going to schools, reading books?
So I don't know if
that has anything to do with it. You don't think that does?
Have you ever heard of the name Lisa Littman?
Anything like that?
Does Lisa Littman ring a bell?
I'm sorry?
Does Lisa Littman ring a bell for you, or ROGD?
I'm trying to see. Give me 1 second.
Yeah,
Is
so
that the girl that she became a boy and then she killed herself?
no, Lisa Littman is a doctor who studied this hypothesis that there's a rapid onset of gender dysphoria among individuals, and it's caused by a social contagion. If you would look at her science, you would see very rapidly that it is just poor quality science. The only evidence to suggest that there is any sort of like social contagion happening on here is poor evidence that doesn't even come to like there's so many different confounding factors. Yeah, so we can talk about priming and proxy. So instead of, do you think that if we're going to try to figure out if individuals are being like basically socially convinced to become transgender, that we should ask the individuals themselves and look at and ask the individuals and when they started to feel transgender and that kind of stuff?
Not as children, we shouldn't. We shouldn't even be telling
we
children
shouldn't.
about it.
Do you think we should ask individuals on when they first had gender nonconforming beliefs and ideas?
If they come to somebody, maybe, but I don't think that it should be, oh, well, then maybe you are. It should be it should be taken very seriously. But the thing is that's not the case, man.
We do
Let's
take
live
it
in
very
reality
seriously.
for a second. Hold on, that's not the case. Nowadays, they're wanting to talk about it at a very early age. They're putting it out on mass, medias. They're putting it out in mass. So these are, and then you can't come on, man. You cannot disagree with me that
we talked about left-handed
phenomenon
people a
of
lot.
Transgenderism has risen phenomenally.
Yes,
it has risen
a lot. So has
why?
people who have who are left-handed. The reason why it's risen, the amount of people who use their left hand primarily is not because of some social contagion. It's because we fucking accepted them for who they are.
Not
and you would
just that,
agree.
Over the last 20, 30 years,
Over
the
the last
people that were
100 years.
left-handed, risen.
Over the last 100 years.
Over the last 20, 30 years, the rate of those diagnosed with autism has risen because guess what?
We better accept them and understand what autism is.
With a better understanding,
that
can
is
lead
true.
to more diagnoses
But
of those
again,
who...
we better understand and accept individuals.
Psychologists that are throwing that out as well. And then we have the TikTok people that are coming up here and being like, "Oh, I'm autistic girly. I got the tism and shit like that."
No, I have a proper diagnosis.
Every single day. People self-diagnose every single day.
And I would call them all out for it if they don't have there's a reason when you would self-diagnose when it's clear, but you should go seek a formal diagnosis if you have the abilities to. When it comes down to being transgender, there isn't any sort of criteria, and it's very clear if you are or not. If you have questions about it, you should talk to somebody who's familiar with these things, and they shouldn't be forced one way or the other. We shouldn't be forcing individuals to be one gender or the other. That's called conversion therapy. It's morally reprehensible and leads to worse outcomes.
So you subscribe to the fact that you don't think media plays a part in any form of coercion.
There's no evidence to suggest it. Not with transgender
You're
people.
fucking with me, right? You genuinely don't think that?
Do you think
Did
that
we
somebody...
show on the left-handed study?
No.
But yeah,
I can also just ask you: do you think that people become left-handed because they're exposed to the idea that left-handed people exist? No, that's psychotic.
But the thing
that's
is
fucking
the
stupid.
left-handed
You'd be a
populace did not
fucking
rise
stupid person
over the
if you
last
thought
10
that.
years.
Can I also talk
Because
about
they were accepted. The left-handed quote that you're trying, or trope that you're trying to talk about, people were ostracized about that centuries ago. That's not something that is a nuanced thing where people were like, "Oh, I hate left-handed people." That's not how that works.
They thought it was fucking demonic. They thought it was fucking demonic. Like they think transgender people are today.
With you. But
So
we're
exactly,
saying
identical
that was
people are being
centuries
today.
ago, dog.
Keaton
That was
said
not
it.
even near what we're talking about right now. That was
So both left-handed people and transgender people were both thought as
Centuries
demonic.
ago, hang on, I have to correct
Or a
for
century ago.
misinformation.
That has been
Centuries
so-
ago, yeah,
that
it
has
was in
been
the
so
1900s
long
that we have
ago.
this study for.
1900s. That was last century. So that was
Not
a
centuries ago. That is inaccurate.
It was 100 years
Okay, that
ago
was a
that people
century
were
ago. Cole, are you happy now? Are you triggered?
But
Are you
you
good?
do
You found your
agree.
safe space? You're back? Great.
Yeah, so Jay,
That's awesome.
you do
So
agree.
in the 40s is when it rose. Okay.
Do you see
That
this
is-
though?
That is great.
Oh no,
But
it
the thing-
plateaued. Oh no!
It
It
erupted from
plateaued!
1920 to 1940. I'm looking at the same graph,
And then
right?
it plateaued. Because it's almost like it's not a social fucking contagion if you're left-handed
Okay,
or
so
not. That
why?
there's genetic aspects to it that cause people to be left-handed versus right-handed. It's almost that there might be something similar to transgender.
The trans is not plateauing.
It is. Or it will.
It's not.
Indeed, it follows the
It,
same
it
pattern for the
will.
same exact
It's not
reason.
following
It
the same
will.
pattern as left-handed.
So how
So
can you
if I'm
possibly say
left-handed, am I
that?
gay? What's going on here?
Yeah, so
Wait, can you tell the
when we
future?
yeah, do you understand that we have genetic evidence that contradicts what you say? We have genetic evidence that suggests that being transgender is partially due down to
I have
genetics.
genetic evidence that if you have a penis
That means you're a
and you're
male.
male,
Congratulations.
We
Yeah, we
agree
agree.
and
that's
and
basic. Come
you
on.
can't go around and say I'm a
This
her
this
Wait,
pivot
because you
is
have a
like
wait,
hard.
penis
no,
due
wait,
to
wait,
genetics.
Wait,
wait,
women with dicks
wait,
exist. Okay, go ahead.
I was
Of
gonna
course,
say,
Dix
Do
is
they
on the
also
line.
give
Exactly,
birth?
Izzy.
Do they also give birth? And I know what you guys are going to do. What about the women that can't? That is very few and far between, and you're talking about outliers.
Every
You're
single
grasping
woman
at
after
straws.
There
menopause can
is.
no longer give
That
birth.
is true, but
Every
they're
single
viable at
woman,
some point, right,
every
Cole? How did you
single
get
one
here,
of them
Cole?
that
How
isn't
did you get here?
trans,
How did you
every
get
one of
here?
them that is
How did you
cis.
get here?
Should we
You
talk
got
about
here through a
the?
man
Should we
and a
talk about
woman
the?
having
Hold on.
sex.
Should we talk about the rats with uteruses that had them transplanted and they're functional?
So at some point, trans
I
people
don't think you
will
would like that
also go
one.
through
No,
menopause.
I mean that's fine. I can get behind that. I get it, Stotsky. Yeah,
That
but
we
that's the
can
same thing as saying
transplant
like,
uteruses? Yeah, we can.
dude,
And
the
they're
reason
viable.
why would I say no to that? Why would I be like, oh no, that's not true? They're able to
Not a hatch
they're
from an
able to
egg.
give a woman a penis. Obviously, I assume in the next 10 to 15 years, yeah, a man's gonna have a uterus. That's cool, but that at the same time, if you know for a fact without the medical help and the 21st century technology that we have, it would never be viable. It would never fucking work.
So
And you know
we
that.
actually have the technology
And if we
today.
look at a human,
Keaton, I'm
just
gonna interject really quickly.
Go ahead, Cole.
There's been a lot, I mean a shitload nearly this entire time of misgendering when I came back, or no, I might have been before that. When I had to drop, he said he was talking about trans men and kept using she, her pronouns, and talking about trans women and kept using he, him pronouns. And I'm getting kind of tired of it, honestly. It's getting kind of exhausting and just obnoxious. I don't
you're
want to
gonna have
correct
to
him
be
every
strong.
time, but he needs to like listen or not have this discussion, like, because it's really disrespectful, and no trans person has like affected him in a way, and like, even if one trans person pissed him off, we're not a fucking monolith. So even if I pissed him off and that made him think it was somehow okay to disrespect me in the way of misgendering me, like, that's different from just misgendering the entire community. That's just fucked. Be respectful to people.
It is within the terms of service of TikTok as well.
Yeah, I don't
TikTok
care.
requires. Okay, well then you can just go bye-bye. If you don't care about TikTok's
Yeah.
terms of service, that's not I'm not making the rules. I'm just enforcing them. Don't shoot in the messenger. TikTok requires
Yeah.
that you do not use genders or names against individuals' wills. I have to listen to someone to be respectful. I know, it's so hard. But yeah, you're welcome to come up here if you just respect people's pronouns as TikTok, requires. It's not my platform.
And it's not like anyone else who's been here has had trouble with this. So, I mean, that's really on you, dude.
Yeah, I gave you a mile and you still managed to hang yourself on being like a fucking disgusting douchebag, essentially. I gave you a lot of slack, but no, yeah, this is... I don't care at that point. If you're just going to be disrespectful to people, honestly, I don't care. I don't care what you say. If you can't be respectful, then I don't care about you. I don't care what you have to say.
Period. Go take a nap. Yes, Lee.
Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah.
He needs to just go take a nap. Just go take a deep breath and be away from people for a minute.
I'm sure that they just love Jewish people if they have the use of the word goy in their name. Like, surely they must just love them. and they surely don't think that there's any correlation between transgender people as well. Like there's surely they're not conspiracy theorists.
And surely intersectionality doesn't exist, right?
No, it's almost like these things could have multiple reasonings, and that maybe just maybe, despite the fact that I don't like Israel as a government, I have nothing against Jewish people. They're great. Jewish people I grew up with a set of triplets that were Jewish. They're great people. They taught me a lot about what it means to be Jewish, Judaism, and a lot of other things, and I genuinely think that they're great people. It's not because of their a government in the Middle East that I would see them differently. It would be that they would do something different, and it wouldn't be because they're Jewish. It's because of their actions. So yeah. It's almost like we could have almost seeming contradictory ideas that aren't actually contradictory.
Do you want to do another guess? Because we actually have somebody there.
I think I'm good, honestly.
That's fair, but it was that one skeptic. Yeah. If you hit that big red follow button up at the top of the screen, you can even turn on notifications if you feel like
You'll
it.
see a
but we're
stoat emote.
right. And not only will you see the cute stoat emote, you will be able to see when we're live. We're live every Saturday, typically. Not always, but typically. And the time varies, but usually we start sometime in the afternoon EST, if that helps you at all. So you are welcome to come back when we are not so tired.
Yeah,
and haven't just had a long live.
Yeah, sorry about I generally wouldn't have let somebody go on like that if I had a really good conversation with them last time I spoke with them, but all of a sudden it's just they saw a transgender person like fucking going after you like fucking rabid animal. It blows my mind that people are like that.
I find that
I swear to God, if somebody clips that, I'm gonna kill them.
So I generally find that if you bring any minority group around somebody, let's say you're getting to know them, we tend to be a pretty good litmus test. Yeah. I'm talking your fat friends. By the way, fat is not a bad word. They're just sorry, my dad's talking, so I'm getting distracted. But like fat people, black people, queer people, people of color, indigenous people, trans people, gay people, like people within the queer community, I should say more specifically. Like, if you bring one of us around that person, they're either going to freak the fuck out and basically crash out, or they're going to act weird and maybe not say anything directly to you or in front of you, and tell their friend later, like, that was weird or in some way, shape, or form, and then they've also told on themselves. Or they will just treat you like another fucking person. And that's obviously the ideal. Like, just treat us like the people that we are. We're all fucking people here, you know?
I could tell that there's shit gonna happen when they started asking if you're transgender. I'm like, this doesn't fucking matter. You can tell, like, if they wanted to ask a genuine question, they approach this differently than what they did. Like
absolutely. That's why
what Ice Cream. They asked in a nice way, "Hey, are you transgender?" Or like you asked them, "Are you transgender?" But it wasn't like you were confronting them about it. Yeah.
I just wanted to know. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, sorry. What was the last thing I was gonna say? See, now I'm gonna remember. Oh yeah, way at the beginning of the conversation when you brought up Jay, I said he thinks helping people is conversion therapy. And I said it again. I don't know if I verbally said it or typed it, either or both of those times. But obviously at the end of the conversation, that was clear to us. Like, that's what he thinks helping us is, which is obviously to us who are educated. We know that's not helpful. So I just knew as soon as he started asking, and then I was like, I'm choosing not to disclose in this scenario. And then he's like calling me weird and shit. And I'm like, yeah, you're one of those.
Safe space. Oh yeah, it's like, bro, shut the fuck up.
Oh, that was
get
funny.
Bent. Get fucking bent, dude.
He goes, Cole something like was freaking out and needs to go to their safe space. That was
so I got in the car
You
with my
were
dad after I grabbed my card, and I told him that and just started laughing. Literally, it
yeah.
was so funny.
I will say
Also,
I
the
will say
fact
Cole
that he
Hole.
was like
Okay.
not believing that I was gonna run an errand, like, and then I tried to join again later, but it wouldn't work because I wasn't in the same place, and so I didn't have good connection. Like, bro, like, what do you want from me? I'm doing my best here.
Do you want to speak solid? I know that we speak a lot and we don't pause enough to let you
Oh
speak.
no, it's fine. It's I
Okay.
was more annoyed at the fact that he kept over speaking me in that like numerous times, like probably 6, 7 different individual points.
Interrupting
And
cow. Moo.
each of those points I tried to bring up like 3 separate times and would just get yelled over, and it's like there's not even a point to me talking if that's how I'm gonna be treated, considering the fact that he complained about being muted.
I was about to verify that you have like mod powers, because what I do with those bitches is I just keep them muted. And if I'm here and you want to talk and have me keep them muted, I am more than happy to do that for you.
Oh no, I'm happy to mute people, but if he's gonna complain about it and
You
then
little
do
bitch.
that, I was just gonna be silent and wait for a point to bring that up when I could actually speak. I was gonna wait and go. It's crazy how much you overspoke me yet complained about being muted, but he ended up getting dropped relatively quick. So
I think I did good about not crashing out there. And Cole, I do understand that you can get emotional with things, and like it's valid that you did. I would just caution to try to not. I mean, I know you can't control emotions 100%, but like it doesn't do good to yell at other people about these things. And I think I don't want to have hostility there. But no, you're valid in doing that. I'm just pointing out to you that it's not always the best thing. It doesn't come across well.
Yeah, are you talking about when I chose not to disclose, or
Yeah.
like, okay.
Just at points you got a little heated, and like you're valid. It's totally fine that you do that. I just want to point out that that's also like I've learned that that's not a great thing to do when it comes down to trying to like people are just gonna make fun of you for doing that stuff, and it's fucked.
Honestly, I
I don't think you care that much either. To be honest.
Like, you're totally valid to say that, especially especially if I'm acting rude or loud or whatever for no reason. Because
you're
of
fine.
2 things. One, I have always had a loud voice. Since I was a kid, my voice has resonated. Since before I was on HRT, which is relevant here, very relevant, it was very loud. It got louder when I took HRT. And if I am not purposefully containing the volume, then my natural voice, believe it or not, it is just my voice, will come out and it's louder. Like, I will be having conversations with people and I won't realize that my volume is increasing. And then they respond to me and it's so much quieter than the way I was speaking that I realize and readjust again, like that. So it's more of me just like not giving a shit, but also like, obviously, if it's unwarranted, always call me out on that. But oftentimes it's just acknowledging the fact that like I'm A, passionate, and B, my voice is naturally loud. I'm not trying to yell at any point, except the one time that I said, sorry, I yelled because I thought I was far away from my phone. Other times I don't even realize I'm doing it. So
I don't think it's wrong
that's kind
to
of
get
the case
in your
with me.
emotions. What I would say is that it's much better if you can redirect them instead of feeling like personal attacks. Focus on giving passion into. Like, I don't know if you noticed this, but like when I was getting upset with them, I was just like, so you just think that people should be fucking harmed? Like, I was using it to show how much of a shitbag they were, instead of like. Yeah, other things. You're totally fine in doing it. Whenever I see a nodding thing, that's what I think is just this little coin going, ha.
Last thing I will say is that somebody went on about their First Amendment right and then said, fuck you, Cole. Specifically, my name and fuck you. And I did not.
Fuck you.
If I remember, I didn't respond at all in that moment, but I didn't even like address it the rest of the time that they were up here. So like, I think in some ways I'm definitely getting better at things, Because somebody saying that to me before, I'd be like,
Yeah,
I
you've
might
gotten
get a
better.
little bit upset, but now it's just like, okay, it's just showing who you are. I think that was the guess that after they ran, I was like, that just, the only thing we learned from that is how you are presenting yourself, how you look in this situation, you know? So I do try to stay focused on that, but I'm also, I'm really big about like, I will always interrupt for misinformation. It doesn't matter if you're op or not. And I'm not trying to attack anybody who isn't who's just trying to learn. The interruption isn't meant to be like rude or anything. It's just to educate, literally.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway,
I think that there's a balancing act too, and I think that you do a good job. You've gotten better at like not interrupting when they're like right about to finish the idea. But yeah, like it is totally valid to interrupt them, especially when it's like just blatantly wrong. It's hard to say sometimes too, and when that line draws of when just cut them off and be like, nope, shut the fuck up. This is wrong.
Yeah.
And like
I try to
being
ask-
respectful about it
Okay.
too is it's something I know I need to work on too. Is how to like
Yeah.
respectfully be disrespectful and interrupt.
Like the thing for me is like, sorry, what was the thing you said before that last thing? I forgot what I was gonna say.
I don't know. My brain's kind of melted. I'm
Oh
hungry.
yeah. Okay. So I always ask myself, is this misinformation harmful? So I believe the first, if not one of the first things I interrupted for today was somebody calling it a delusion.
Oh yeah. No, if it is
That is-
harmful, that's fine to interrupt.
Exactly. So I try to ask myself that, but then comes in the nuance of like paradox of tolerance and like when people mess up on accident, like June, who didn't know that she was not saying the right condition when she said body dysmorphia and not gender dysphoria. Like those people I'm purposefully gentle with because I know they want to be correct and learn where they don't already know things and things like that. But if you are disrespectfully and or purposefully, which is disrespectfully, like messing up, quote unquote, but like misgendering whatever that ends up coming out like, whatever flavor of transphobia you are, like at that point, I don't feel the need to make sure I have a cap on my tone for you,
Yeah.
So it's those people that I just kind of let go a little more. And yeah, I need to work on it too. I need to think about things more and find more in betweens of like, because I think I can be very, I would say
What?
defensive because it's
You're very
only in
blunt.
response. Yeah, well, there's that. But I can be defensive when people are being disrespectful to me. I'm not necessarily going to be be respectful to them back. And I can also be very kind when people are being kind to me. I can be very kind and gentle back to the best of my ability. And I think I have those two down. It's just everything in between that
It
I
takes
need
practice.
to kind of work on. Exactly. Like there are people that fall into those in-betweens of like, maybe they can learn about one thing but not another thing. Maybe they're not like fully like even how do I say that? Like they're not the worst transphobes on the planet. So maybe I shouldn't treat them at that far end of the spectrum that I know so well,
It's hard to-
which is disrespecting people who disrespect me and respecting people who respect me. I gotta
Yeah.
find in-betweens along the way. Every person is different. Every conversation is different. So yeah, that's what I need to work on at least. Sorry for my ramble.
Oh, and it's not that I don't want to chat. I would let you up if I literally wasn't gonna leave like soon within a few minutes. That's
yeah,
the reason
just
why I'll
follow
live.
and we'll be back next week.
Yeah, and also like it can't be a delusion in the sense that like that there's delusional thinking. It's because like I mean it would actually be impossible for somebody identifying with a different gender to be delusional about it because gender is subjective. You can't be something that like a subjective idea you can't be wrong about it within your own subjectivity. This is a silly
Yeah.
thing to say. You
That
could-
came up earlier too.
Yeah, I think that it's It's also, I don't know if you noticed this too, but when somebody says like what is gender, I've changed it to say what a culture, individual, or society thinks, not just a society, because people have different ideas about gender, so therefore you have to include this.
Exactly.
I
It's
got a
more
little
inclusive
railed
is
about it
exactly
the
what I
other
was
day,
gonna say.
so I changed it. Wow, what a concept.
I love it.
Yeah, and you can disagree
Oh
with
wow,
what gender
language
is.
evolving. Crazy. Sorry.
Yeah. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go here now. So thank you, everybody.
Okay, thanks for hosting. Bye, Solid. Bye, Keaton. Bye, chat.
Don't talk to me like that. No. Okay, bye. Where's the... Oh, there it is.